Get nasty here on a Wednesday afternoon. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, Anthony Stalter still off for today and tomorrow. You get good old Uncle Anthony back on Friday. Gentlemen, we were going to start this show today. Marshy Marsh and us in the office had a great idea. And the first segment was, is it time to stop comparing the 2024 Cardinals to the 2023 Cardinals? However, Carey.
What happened?
Cardinals are down 4-0 here early to the Braves in the second inning. Gibby's having a rough one. He walked the bases loaded, and Cardinals down 4-0. And Lopez on the mound for the Braves. He's not really prone to giving up a lot of crooked numbers.
That's probably not good.
No, probably not great. Yeah.
Best thing for Cardinals right now is Gibby to stay in the game and keep going. You got another one in a couple of hours,
Gibby,
so...
you got to wear it, bud.
Yeah, you're probably going to have to.
You got to wear it.
Yeah.
So, Marshy, I know when we did a deep dive of this, there were some numbers that accompanied this. Why don't you help us out with that? Because before this game started, I really did believe that it was time to stop comparing 2023 to 2024 based upon where the Cardinals are at now as opposed to where they were last year. Marshy, give us a little update.
Yeah, so Josh Jacobs of Redbird Rants put this together, and we thought it was interesting because we talk about this team, and we always refer back to last year.
Yeah.
Well, they were bad in April. Well, they were bad last year. That's why I can't trust them. Let's go through some of these numbers like Jamie said. As of June 24th, the 2023 Cardinals were 31-45. That was fifth in the NL Central, third worst record in the National League. Their ERA was 4.57, 24th in Major League Baseball, and their OPS was 746, which was 11th in Major League Baseball. As of June 24th this year, the 2024 Cardinals, the record was 40-37. That was second. Best for second in the National League Central, second in the wild card race. ERA 3.95, 14th in Major League Baseball. OPS of 687, 17th in Major League Baseball. That was as of June 24th, so a few days ago. But still, I think the conversation is an interesting one because we look at today's game of all days to bring this up. They're down 4-0 in the second inning, and that is something that we saw all too often last season.
Yeah, it's not a trend we want to see happen again. And honestly, it hasn't been a trend here for a long time for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
But I think, Carey, we've been talking about this, and you certainly have said this a few times, is this more of an indication of the Cardinals playing better or the National League being worse?
A little bit of both.
Right? Because when I'm reading these numbers, Marshy, as you did, the Cardinals' OPS was 687 this year.
Yeah.
Last year, 746. So
it's better.
You'd think the offense was much better. Mm-hmm. But then again, you look at the way the last season ended, and so you'd think that maybe the competition was a little bit better.
The pitching was definitely not better last year. It has been upgraded for the 24 season. So I think that has helped. I say that and we talk about what's happening in the first couple of innings today. But the pitching has been much better this season than it was. That helps you win more games. It helps you stay in more games. I think last season, I forget how many blown saves they had, but they were one of the top teams in the major leagues last year in blown saves, and they don't have as many this year. So that in itself is allowing you to win games, stay in games, and finish and close games. So that part is good. The hitting, again, I would probably put those numbers, the OPS numbers, to your two best players. Paul Goldschmidt just got a double, so that helps with the slugging. Yeah. But when Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt aren't hitting home runs, aren't hitting extra base hits, it makes it a little bit, it's going to lower your OPS. So, it's definitely different.
It's a little misleading, isn't it? I feel duped almost. And I don't want to be that guy.
What do you feel duped about? Marshy, pay attention. He's coming around.
I'm listening.
All right. What do you got?
Well, I thought this team was playing much better than they actually are.
Really?
And
the numbers say it, Jamie. They're winning more games. They're second in the division.
The
stacked division that the NL Central is. It's stacked,
So
Jamie.
let's go back to that, okay? Is the record at 40-37 currently as we sit here today. Much better, but then again, it goes back to I don't want to say my theory or your theory, just the thought of the National League overall just is weaker.
Yeah. It's not good. I mean, we talked about it, the division, the National League side of things. You got, again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams within 4 games of one another. The Cubs, who were just a week or two ago were, I think, ahead in the wild card, are now third to last. We don't count the Miami Marlins and the Rockies. They don't.
Well, why? We lose to them.
You don't
should count that. They count as losses.
No. I'm talking about in the standings. We don't worry about them. Those guys are at the very bottom. So, but the other teams, every team in the National League is within a handful of games of being in the wild card. So, if you want me to believe that this team is much better, are they better than last year? Yes. But that ain't saying a lot because last year was really bad.
So I have some numbers that I want to throw out to you, and I think that this could potentially change your mind on how you view this season. Okay. So last year, through 77 games, this is from Ryan Shull, who put this together on Twitter X. 2023, through 77 games, they were 32-45. We just mentioned that as of June 24th, they were 31-45, but through those 77 games, 32-45, they finished 71-91. Not a great year. This year, through 77 games, 40-37. Now, how do you think 2022 went? Would you say that was a good team?
2022?
It was probably similar to what we're watching right now.
So in 2022, they were 43-34 through 77 games. That's only 3 games better than what we're seeing right now. Yeah. And they finished 93-69.
I'd take that.
So maybe we're seeing more of this 2022 team with a little bit of a slower start in 2022, and then after the All-Star break, you start picking it up and things start to come around here.
Go ahead.
And don't mention Albert Pujols being on the team.
That's what I was going to say. No. You're going to get Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado to have a great second half.
Okay, I'll take that.
So, now, that is possible. Both of those guys,
we're talking.
They do possess that power.
There you go.
Like Albert.
Yeah.
They're not Albert, but they possess that power.
I think Arenado is on pace to hit like 12 home runs this year. Maybe.
I did not have him hitting less home runs than Brendan Donovan this year.
It's not good.
But I think it is possible that this team could be right around 90 wins if they have somewhat of a similar trajectory as 2022. So, yes, we're comparing them to last year, but also the way that they've been playing, I think it lends itself to looking back 2 years instead of 1 year.
Okay. I can
90 wins gets you in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Especially in this.
By the way, guys,
this National League.
Matt Carpenter coming up here. Bases loaded.
No,
it's not my guy.
No.
We are carrying over same lineup. We carried everything over. We did establish that in our text.
Well, I had text about bet the board because it's the same odds, it's the same everything. So instead of me being 1 game behind like you had to do,
right, which ultimately cost me.
It did.
It is what it is.
But no, bases loaded. Matt Carpenter, I believe, one of the best hitters ever with bases loaded. So we'll see how this works out for the Cardinals. But, yeah, Marshy, I think you're right. I think that this team does resemble 2022 a little more. And, of course, the big if, that word, if, Goldschmidt and Arenado can recapture some of their power, then things change dramatically for this team. Like, if those guys get back to where they need to be, like, even close, then the holes in the lineup, they disappear quickly. You're not counting. Now you're not leaning on Mason Wynn, Alec Burleson, Brendan Donovan. Now you've got some boppers in there because you know, like you said, Nolan Gorman, he frustrates you. I get it because he's scorching hot or he's ice cold.
One or the other.
So it'd be nice that if he's in a cold spell, that there's Goldie or Nolan Arenado that can fill in there.
I think it's important to note too. Last year we didn't see a full year out of Mason Wynn. We didn't see a full year out of Brendan Donovan. Mm-hmm. A lot of these guys have been dealing with injuries throughout these past few seasons. We're not really seeing what this team looks like when fully healthy. I mean, maybe we won't. But I think that's something that we need to take into consideration because Mason Wynn and Brendan Donovan have been, in my opinion, 2 of your best players, consistent players all season long.
Absolutely, and they're fun to watch, too.
They are fun to watch.
I mean, that's the one thing that Anthony and I were talking about, Carey. I don't know if you were here that day, was just that it was boring almost to watch the Cardinals early on. It was watching like paint dry. Yeah. And since then, Mason Wynn's picked up Brendan Donovan back in the lineup because he was out at the time. it adds a lot of flair to this crew. And Matt Carpenter flies out. But Goldie will get home. So the Redbirds on the board. So we'll keep you updated as we go here. Got a lot of fun stuff on the show today. We're going to get into a couple more things here right now. But Oli Marmol said a couple of interesting things. And Jeff Jones reporting that he's got some different plans for the rotation, or what Oli Marmol's plans are for the rotation. So that's coming up next here on 101 ESPN. If you're looking to get rid of those old windows, maybe those inefficient windows, maybe you're just tired of looking at them, period, call Window World. They are the preferred window of your St. Louis Blues. They're also ranked number one in number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. Their customer service is outstanding, by the way. They pride themselves on great customer service, and they want to make sure that your experience while using Window World is fantastic. They get into your home, they measure everything accordingly, and then you get a window that's custom built for the opening in your home. I know this because I was in the back looking at the windows, and all of them have the name on them and the customized version of it. And let's not forget, too, that Window World uses a double-strength glass that you don't usually see in replacement windows. And not only do you get a great window, you get a lifetime warranty that covers all of the parts, the glass breakage, and the labor. And right now, they are offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. And all you have to do is pick up the phone and call them. Tell them Jamie Rivers from 101 sent you in there. That number is 314-993-1800. That's 314-993-1800. Or you can visit windowworldstlouis.com. It's a fast lane here, 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers driving here today. Oli Marmol had some thoughts regarding his rotation, and he expressed those, and Jeff Jones put it out on Twitter about what Oli's plans are. So, Marshy, if you can read that, we can react to that following.
Absolutely. So Marmol said it is, and talking about the rotation, and you're seeing those early hooks, and if it is a broader maintenance strategy. So Oli Marmol said it is. I know this game you can question just about anything. That has been a big part of this. If you look at our depth, it's not our strength at the moment, right? That's been talked about enough. So making sure that we stay healthy has to be an emphasis. And how do you do that? You monitor workload. So yeah, pulling someone at 88 pitches, can they get to 100? Yeah, you can redline them all day long. Careful. And then Oli Marmol, it says he laughed. You just kind of have to think bigger picture of what you have and what worst case scenario looks like. And what's the best way of getting there? It's by overusing these guys.
Yeah, so what Ollie's basically trying to say is he's trying to save these pitchers because of the injuries that they've had in the last couple of years.
So that's interesting to me because he's talking about the starting pitchers.
Correct.
Like, I can save them, I can get them to 100, but 88 is fine. But what you're doing also is there are only a couple of guys that you trust, and you're trying them out there every night. So
I think he's been doing a pretty good job recently.
Yes, but those three main guys are the guys that we have had concern about. Yeah. So if you're saying, yeah, we can get them to 100, I think sometimes, maybe not every night, no, not every fifth day you get them to 100, but if they can do it, that will take some stress off of the guys in the bullpen. I think you're substituting one problem for another, in my opinion, at times, because you're not putting the pressure or the stress on the starting pitchers, but you are at times and have been this season. We've seen it with Ryan Helsley. He looked it was scary his last outing. It looked like it was going to go bad, go left really quickly. So I think you're transferring, that stress from the starting pitchers, but putting it on the bullpen by having those main three guys trot out there every single night, almost every single night in those high leverage moments.
So are you more concerned about the pitch count or eating innings? And I asked that for a very specific reason.
I don't care about pitch count.
But are you? Because what if you're 88 pitches in, the guy's in the 8th inning?
Then he should keep pitching.
I'm just saying, but you don't need to.
Why wouldn't you?
But
what's wrong with it?
Because I'm playing into Ollie's thought process right now. And it's
70,
not just Oli. That's a whole organization.
I think it's more, for them, it's more about seeing a lineup 3 times around, like the 3rd time around. You don't want them to get a...
Well, the numbers do bear it out.
Yeah, but,
that almost every pitcher in the league, 3rd time through the lineup.
Which is weird to me because, they have film. It's not like they don't know what's coming. I guess it's different seeing it live as opposed to seeing it on film. But if you've faced the guy before, you kind of have an idea of who he is and what he is and how he's going
Carey,
to attack
the numbers
you.
Don't lie.
Well, I don't believe in numbers all the time, Jay. So what do you want me to say? I just feel like if you have faced a guy prior, it's not your first time. It's your first time that day.
Yeah.
It's not your first time in life.
Well, it might be. Never know.
Probably not.
Several pitchers, I'm sure, that don't see a lot of batters, or vice versa.
Well, if you've seen a guy, Kyle Gibson has been around a while.
It's true.
Sonny Gray has been around a while. Lance Lynn has been around a while. Those guys, Miles, they've been around a while. So a lot of the teams that they're going to face, especially teams in the division, Sonny and Kyle brand new, but Lance has been here, Miles has been here. Those guys know them, right? Yeah. They've seen them. So I'm more concerned about the number of pitches. If I'm 88 pitches, 80 pitches in the 8th inning, how do you feel? Feel good, Skip. Keep going.
So
why do I need to get my guys, my relievers in that game if my pitcher, my starting pitcher, is feeling good and he's only at 80 some odd pitches and he's rolling along?
I'm not disagreeing, but let me present this to you. Is it harder to acquire a guy for your rotation or a reliever?
Rotation.
So wouldn't you protect that more?
Yeah.
Because if you burn out an arm in the bullpen, I'm not saying Helsley because he's a difference maker, but I think the overall philosophy for a lot of managers is we can find a reliever. We can find a number of relievers at the deadline. We can find, you can fill the gaps,
I
right?
agree.
Now, you're not necessarily going to have aces, but look at what we're seeing so far this year with the Cardinals with the injury to Steven Matz. You can't just fill the rotation.
Right.
And you tried guys. You tried Liberatore. That didn't really work. Palante's been okay, but
But is a guy going to is 12 more pitches going to completely wear a guy, tear him down.
12 times 5, 12 times 6,
but I'm not saying
12 times 7.
But I'm also not saying do that every start. I'm not saying every fifth game you need to go 100. But I'm saying on those rare moments where a guy is dealing and he is performing well, like if Sonny Gray doesn't give up a home run and
they would have trotted him out there.
So what's the difference if he's only given up 2 hits that game versus having a perfect game? What is the difference? If the pitch amount is the same, you're telling me if it's a perfect game, well, keep going. It doesn't matter. Then the numbers don't matter. We're going to keep going out there.
It's a unique situation.
Okay, so
it'd be like switching your goalie out when he has a shutout.
But if you only give up a hit or 2 and don't have any walks and you're dealing, you're telling me, well, third time around, we can't do it now. That philosophy doesn't make sense to me, because if a guy is performing well, you let that guy, because it could be one of those nights where he has a great night.
Okay. Like, what if because I understand your theory, but you're also grabbing like the most popular, like a no-hitter or 1 hit.
Okay.
What about a guy who's got like 4 or 5 hits against him?
It depends on how it looks.
It's been
Is he struggling? Is he struggling?
But it's been fine. He's at 84 pitches.
If he's struggling or looking like he's laboring, and that's where the eye test comes, and you say, and how much do you trust that guy? I trust you to say, hey, Skip, I'm tired. I don't got it no more. Okay, come on. No, let me face this guy. And if I get him out, let me get the last guy out. Okay. Because you're only at 80 some odd pitches. I trust that you can get this guy out. And was it 4 hits in an inning? Is it 4 hits through 7 innings where it's been 1 hit, double play, 1 hit, got the guy out? Like, how have those hits come about? Like, is it laboring throughout the game, or is it I'm okay and I've just sporadically allowed 3 to 4 hits, 4 or 5 hits throughout the entire game?
So, but let's go back to the math to do with this, because you're like, oh, it's just 12 pitches here. And I understand you're not talking about every single start.
No.
But maybe, and I don't have the information in front of me to track this, but total pitches in a season. Like, I'm wondering if they have a threshold for total number of pitches, or ideally what their rotation should be maxing out at. Like, I know they talk about innings. We'd like to max them out at 130 innings or this innings, but the number of pitches to me, so maybe it's a deeper mathematical dive to where Oli and his staff are like, okay, Sonny Gray, we need to get him out because he's been about 10, 11, 12 pitches over the pace that we should have him on right now, specifically since he had that injury too.
I mean, that would be that. Then, if that's what you're going with,
it's not. I'm just
no. I'm saying if that's the numbers that they're going with,
you don't have to hate me for it.
I don't hate you. I love you.
I'm just throwing it out there.
What I'm saying is, your the numbers eventually, something's going to take place where you're going to go above those numbers. Like, it's the sport. It's like a minutes restriction in basketball. Oh, we can't get this guy to play more than 20 minutes. He's got 35 points in 18 minutes. You're going to tell him he can't, and the game is tied. You want to sit him down. Like, at what point, and it's a game you need to win. Like, at what point do you say, okay, we have these numbers which are pretty much arbitrary. We just came up. Like, we might not have came up with those numbers, but this is the number of pitches that we decide that he can't throw more than, and if he throws 8 more pitches than this, his arm's going to fall off. Is it? Are you sure?
But what about the long game, Carey?
What if the number is less and you actually you overshot your number and you missed it by 20, and that the pitch where you're supposed to have 20 more pitches, that's the one that threw his arm out. You
what
don't
about
know.
The long game? Let's talk about playoffs, like the end of the season, the stretch, coming down the stretch.
Yeah.
Let's talk about playoffs. Like, do you want to push your guys?
There.
Do you want to push your guys at game 70, 71?
Are we in the playoffs?
We are right now.
Are we going to stay there?
Well, we hope so.
Are we going to stay there?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. Well, Jamie said it. Then it's done.
It's done.
There we go. Congratulations. The magic number's down to 0.
That's it.
Yeah.
We don't even need to go out there and play anymore.
No,
I know
we're fine. Just buy your hats. We'll be there.
You know, the Cardinals talk about eating innings. We know how pitchers work nowadays, right? They're not going 9 innings every single time out there. It's just a completely different game. So
I agree.
I wonder if eating innings, if the idea of those innings being eaten are different now. Like, when I think of eating innings, like, I'm thinking 7, 8 innings, maybe, like at least 7, but maybe now it's 6.
Okay,
maybe
so what if
maybe it's just like the max is 7.
So if you're like Miles
and if you
Michaelis,
get lucky, then you get 8 or 9.
It was a couple of weeks ago. I think Miles Michaelis was at like 60 pitches in 6 innings. So he's gassed?
No, that's why I said, is it more important the innings or the pitches?
For me, it's the pitches.
For me, it's the innings.
I don't care about the innings. If I get 3 guys out with 3 pitches, then
the
that's
innings
one
matter,
inning.
Carey, because
But
if you can get a guy to the 7th inning and get to your bullpen and he's not even tired out, get him out of the game.
And then allow someone else to come in
or leave him in and then allow him to get rocked. It's
either way,
glass half full or glass half empty. Carey.
That's why managers
life of the manager
money
right there.
It's funny you mentioned that. We got a text from Thanks Dad. If it's a problem either way, isn't it good that at least they have a definite plan? Whether you agree with it or not, it's a 50-50 decision.
It is a 50-50 decision.
It is.
And sometimes it works well, sometimes it don't.
When the manager makes a decision and it works, then we've talked about this ad nauseum lately. Mm-hmm. Well, the players executed and, he did what he was supposed to do. Well, then when it goes sideways, well, that guy's an idiot.
Well, it reminds me of Dan Campbell in the Lions. Like, they had a specific plan every single game that they were going to be aggressive. And if the Cardinals have a definite plan of we are going to
how'd that work out for them?
Well, it didn't work out.
You bite your tongue. You bite your
3
dang tongue.
On the 25, on our own 25. You know what?
Not a great idea, okay? I get it.
We're going for it. NFC Championship game.
It was a
game.
learning moment, okay?
A game late in the season.
Don't you talk smack about my guy. I cannot let
Carey.
you. Cannot
This is going to happen in the wild card round.
All right, we got to get to Jeremy Rutherford here. He's coming at us here from The Athletic. He's got a couple of things coming up here with the draft right around the corner. We'll talk about the Blues. We'll talk about the NHL. We'll talk about the Florida Panthers, I'm sure. All that next here on 101 ESPN. Johnny Londoff Chevrolet, that family has been in business for over 80 years, and the Londoff family has been making transportation dreams come true in the St. Louis area for as many years as that. Whether you visit the dealership in person or you visit them online, Johnny Londoff Chevrolet, they're going to treat you like family. Londoff family they want you to buy a car and make it fun. Never mind those old days were stressful about haggling about price and things like that. Johnny Londoff, they take the suggested retail price and they chop it down. They give you the Londoff price, and that's really what matters. And also you get that lifetime warranty on all new Chevrolets and most of their pre-owned inventory. Londoff team does a fantastic job of making sure that you love your vehicle, whether it's brand new or pre-owned, and that you drive it and that you're taken care of properly. They got 2 locations, Florissant, Missouri, the original location, and the new Londoff Autoplex out in St. Peters. Stop by, visit them today. Tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in. They love hearing that. But if you can't get there in person, get there online. Visit them at londoff.com or londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Johnny Londoff Chevrolet.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals are currently losing to the Atlanta Braves 4-1. We'll keep you updated on today's game. It's game one of a doubleheader because the Cardinals were rained out yesterday. So once again, we'll keep you updated on today's game. 4-1 in the top of the fourth. Jeremy Rutherford is going to join us next, our insider from The Athletic. We'll talk about your Blues, we'll talk about the Stanley Cup, and we'll get into the NHL Draft coming up here in a few days. JR coming up next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Fast Lane here, 101 ESPN. It's time to talk that hockey. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers here. We head out to our celebrity line, and I do say celebrity line loosely. We're welcomed by Jeremy Rutherford from The Athletic. JR, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Super loosely.
You're a celebrity in my eyes, JR. Man, listen to this guy.
Oh, JR, I'm just messing with you. JR's not going to start getting soft at this point in his life.
Nope, not at all. A little soft around the belly there, but not soft with the mentality.
We love you that way, JR. Come on.
Hey, I got a game for you guys.
Sure.
You play the lineup game every day. When you hear the sounder here, give me the Blues lineup for opening night next year. Boo, 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 boo.
So that's the question I was going to ask you. What are you hearing out there right now? Because it's so weird this year with the playoffs going so deep into June. And like the Panthers front office barely getting an opportunity to celebrate the Cup. They got to turn around and deal with the NHL Draft. So just on the surface of things right now, Jared, what are you hearing out there?
Yeah, they almost have to leave the parade there in Florida and head out to Vegas for the draft. I'm jumping on a plane tomorrow morning. Guys, got to take one for the team, heading to Vegas.
Poor guy.
The draft at the Sphere. But as I wrote in an article that's going to be published tomorrow morning, I'm really excited about this. You go so many years, and it's a lot of fun, 10 years of success, 10-plus years, a Stanley Cup in there. But, as Doug Armstrong once said, it kind of ran itself with all the success and the moves that they made. But now it's wide open. Like, we're talking about the potential of either signing Pavel Buchnevich to a trade to a contract or trading him. You're talking about drafting 16. Do you move up or down in the draft? So much that could happen this weekend. As far as what I'm hearing, I did speak with some sources about the Buchnevich situation, and they said that they'll know more by the end of the week. I think it's a situation, guys, where he's going to want the term, just like we thought, potentially 8 years. If you're the Blues, you want to max out at probably 5 years, just like Doug Armstrong hinted at the other day when he said maybe a contract that takes him to his mid-30s. So where does that situation go? And then I think one that dates back to last year, Torrey Krug, what's going to happen with him? Is this the summer that they move him? I think he'd be more inclined this summer than he was last year to a move, and we'll have to see if Doug Armstrong can pull that off.
Because JR, it's 2 years since the Blues have been in the playoffs. What is the move that is most needed to get them over the hump, to get them in the playoffs for this season coming up?
Well, I think it's stay the course, because I think what they're doing is probably the right thing. I know I've, like others, kind of voiced, hey, do you need to rebuild this thing? And Doug Armstrong and Tom Stillman have said that, no, we don't think we need to. We're going to continue with the retool. And after what we just saw this past year, granted, they did not make the playoffs, and they had a chance to, and you don't want to grade them on a curve there. They really should have made the playoffs. But I think that as competitive as they were and the players that they're bringing in with the draft picks, they're on the right path here. Carey, here's my question. I posed a perfect week plan for the Blues this week, a real who they could get drafted at 16. Also, who could they sign in free agency? And the name I threw out there was Chandler Stevenson of Vegas Golden Knights, center, 30 years old. Maybe he gets a 4-year contract, about $6 million per. And, some people wondered, do you really want to go that direction with a 30-year-old guy where the Blues are where they're at? But I think if you're talking about the same blueprint as they're looking at, contending and being a playoff team, you can't just bring in every 23 and 24-year-old. in the organization and throw him out there and think that's going to happen. So I'm not saying Stevenson, but do you find a veteran in free agency to answer your question, kind of get them over the hump and get them back into the playoffs next year?
Well, JR, I have been chanting for Chandler Stevenson since the season ended for Vegas. I think he'd be a great addition for the Blues. And as you know, he can play wing and center. So if there's any developments with, within the group, whether it's Dalibor Dvorsky or if they want to put Braden Shen there, they can move him to the wing. Either or, I think it does provide some flexibility for the roster as well.
Well, and if you want to look 2 or 3 or 4 years down the road, because you'd likely have to sign him to a multi-year contract, it gives Dvorsky time to get ready, as you touched on. And then in 3 or 4 years, if Stevenson's still on the roster, then, as you mentioned, he can go to the wing, he can go to the third line, he can go wherever. I don't think you're paying him too much money where it's going to be an albatross in a few years. I think he can really help you in the near term and then still be a part of it in the long term.
Jared, we go back to the Buchnevich situation, and, Doug Armstrong, it's no secret, he has always been apprehensive of long-term deals for players that will be taken into their late 30s. And most of the time he's either walked away from a player or, traded a player, whatever the case may be. What do you ultimately think happens here with Pavel Buchnevich? And what's the magic number for Pavel Buchnevich? I don't know if you've talked to his representation at all, if they're like what term or what number financially they're looking for.
Well, you're talking about a player who's going to be 30 when his contract kicks in with Buchnevich. So it's a situation where why would he be interested in a deal 3, 4, 5 years, and then he's looking for another deal when he's 34 or 35? It doesn't make sense. So he's going to be looking for the term, I believe. And I've thrown out the number to people who are kind of involved in the situation, $8 million, and I think that's, in the ballpark. Nobody sneezed at that number, so I think that $8 million is in the ballpark. To me, that doesn't make a lot of sense for the Blues. Sure, it makes you competitive. Sure, he's a well-liked guy in the locker room. He's been a good, solid player for the Blues on the ice, but just from what they're doing, I don't know that arrangement makes sense. And if we listen to Doug Armstrong closely, a couple weeks ago when they named Alex Steen the GM in waiting, he said that, he and Alexander Steen, might not be in lockstep in certain situations and contract negotiations and things like that. So Doug Armstrong might want a Pavel Buchnevich on board for these next couple of years, where Steen doesn't think that's a good idea down the road. So we'll have to continue to monitor that situation. And, Riv, here's the question I have. If they can't come to a contract term, they can't reach an agreement by the start of this season, do they move him this year, or do they let the year play out and consider trading him at the trade deadline? I think the timing of a potential trade, if they don't get that contract done, is the biggest question to me.
Yeah, I think that just on that one, JR, if I was Army and we can't get a deal done, I think I'd walk it to the deadline and get as much use out of Pavel Buchnevich as possible. And if he's got a real good season going and he helps you get to the playoffs or you're in the playoff picture, then you can deal with it accordingly. And if you're not, then you'd have your answer. You can move on from that player. Now, you won't get as much, but sometimes people around the deadline, the teams that are really desperate, they might overpay.
Yeah, you're right. And for a Blues team that wants to be competitive, that gives you several months to get some production from Pavel Buchnevich. And, I agree with you. I don't think they're going to get maybe as much at the deadline, but you just never know around those deadline times where teams are looking to add and feel like he could be the perfect player to add to their group.
JR, you said you're headed to Vegas. The Blues have the 16th pick. Who are you looking at, or who are they looking at to help this roster in the future?
Well, I think if they had a perfect situation, they'd like to get a defenseman. The problem is, if you break down the draft, the best defensemen, as you can imagine, are probably going to be gone in the top 10, and they draft 16th. So when it gets to them, there's going to be an opportunity for, maybe a second-tier defenseman to still be available. But like Doug Armstrong always says, you got to go best player available. So is there still going to be a forward sitting there that you have no choice but you have to grab? I think that's going to be the situation most likely. But there's a couple defensemen sitting there in the 14, 15, 16 range. Solberg is one. You got another one, Jurasek, Jiricek. Those two guys could be available when the Blues pick. I think they'd be good pickups. Are they, top pair, top four potential down the road? Could be, but still good defensemen nonetheless.
Great stuff, JR. We appreciate your time as always. Have a safe trip out to Vegas. Enjoy your stay. And keep us posted. If anything happens, let us know, and we'll get you back on and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll check in. Thanks, boys.
All right, thanks, JR. Appreciate it. Again, that's Jeremy Rutherford from The Athletic. Check out his stuff online. It's fantastic, and he's got a new piece that just came out, or it will be coming out, he said, I believe tomorrow. So please check that out. All right, we got What's Trending coming up next here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
It's time to find out what's going on in the sports world with What's Trending Now. Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate a car and get tickets to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers and Carey Davis. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Gentlemen, there is an article on MLB.com The article title is a look at storylines that will dominate the second half. And so, there's different storylines going on here. The Cardinals are a part of one of those storylines. Who will emerge from these wild card scrums? Doesn't really go too much in depth for the Cardinals, that is. But I wanted to ask you guys, when it comes to the second half for the Cards, what is the main storyline for them?
For me, it's going to be, what are Goldie and Arenado doing?
That's it.
I think that's the main storyline. You can talk about the rotation, certainly, and pieces like that. But for me, the main story is, have they come around yet?
That is the main story. That's going to be the question that is continued to ask. I said earlier, Nolan Arenado was probably on pace to hit about 12 home runs. Like, you expect more power from him, which is probably why he's batting sixth now, because he's just not hitting the ball hard enough to be in those, I guess, the 3, 4, or 5 hole right now. So I think that's the main story. And does the pitching continue to perform at the level that it has? Kyle Gibson had a rough day today a little bit, gave up 4 runs, is out of the game right now. So, does the pitching continue to perform at the rate that it has so far this season?
There was an article, not an article, but a trailer that came out for Hard Knocks, the offseason Hard Knocks, which I believe this will be the first time that we have seen Hard Knocks have a TV show essentially showing what happens at the draft and what's going on in the offseason. And the Giants are a team that is participating in that, and the trailer just came out for that. And we know that earlier in the offseason, Saquon Barkley, he put on social media that he never got an offer to come back to New York. Well, in this trailer, you will see that the general manager for the Giants is talking with Saquon, and he says, Saquon, can you give me your word on that, or are you not going to give us a chance? Now, I don't necessarily want to dive into that specifically, but does that intrigue you? Does that make you want to watch this show to see sort of the behind-the-scenes type stuff when it comes to building a roster and what goes into the draft? I know, Carey, you said you don't like watching Hard Knocks because you lived it. Is this a little bit different for you?
This one probably is different. I just don't like the part where they tell guys to get your playbook. We'll see coach.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, for what? What do you want me for? Hey, you telling me I don't have a job? Huh? And it's on TV?
You go get the damn playbook.
You go get it and take it to him. Hell with that, I'm not going. I do think it would be interesting to see like the behind-the-scenes part of free agency or draft lead up. I always find that interesting, how they decide, okay, we're going with player A as opposed to player B. What are the criteria? I know it's based off of need, but if you got a need and 2 guys that are essentially the same player or right around the same, how do you decide that this player over that player? I think that's always intriguing. And who gets the final say? Is it the head coach? Is it the GM? Position coach standing on the table saying, I need this guy to make our team better, to make my position group better. What are the things that go on in that room to allow them to make that pick? Yeah,
that's what interests me. And Carey, like you said, you lived it, so you have a pretty good idea of what's going on for the most part. But for the outsider like myself, I know how it works in the NHL, but I find it fascinating to see the negotiations with agents or players, to see the draft, to watch the coaches when they get in the room and what they're discussing and what coaches are pulling for what players, or how they're going to design certain plays or systems. And that stuff intrigues me. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I find it interesting with this whole Saquon Barkley situation because, is he a guy that didn't want to play in New York because of the roster? Was he just sort of fed up with how things were going? He's in Philly, so I don't know if it really comes down to not wanting to play in front of like a fan base that is a rabid fan base. I think that's ultimately what it comes down to.
And sometimes you get frustrated as a player when you don't get the contract that you want from the team. You want to get multiple years, and you see a quarterback, your quarterback, in Daniel Jones, who you probably have a lot of respect for him, but at the end of the day, you're like, well, he's been injured. He hasn't been performing at the level. Saquon had some injuries as well, but when healthy, he's one of the best running backs in the league, no questions asked. So to not get that reassurance in a multi-year contract, that could be something that say, you know what, I probably don't have any intentions on going back there unless there is nothing else out there for me to go to.
There's definitely 2 sides of the story, and I'm looking forward to seeing, what what transpires from this show. Another thing, a part of this trailer was Brian Daboll, the head coach of the Giants, essentially saying, like, if you're not going to win here, like, we're going to hear it. This is New York.
Yeah.
Did you guys like playing in a city that essentially keeps you accountable, or did you prefer playing in like a city? I know, Jamie, you played in Arizona and a few different cities that hockey's not necessarily the top sport in that city. Did you enjoy that because there wasn't as much pressure, or did you guys revel in that pressure?
I think it's fun to have pressure. I think it's fun to have expectations and the city to believe that you should be a champion. Nobody, I mean, if you're in a place with no expectations, you're probably in a place that ain't won or is not going to win. So that ain't fine. And I have done both. I went to the University of Illinois. Wasn't very many high expectations
Carey,
there.
bite your tongue.
Well, we had some good years. We won the Big Ten first time in 20 years. Ain't happened since. But talk my talk. But
preach.
The expectations weren't as high because there was not a lot of winning. Then you go to Pittsburgh, and they expect you to be in the playoffs every year, not only in the playoffs, in the AFC Championship game, trying to make it to the Super Bowl. That's the expectation. So it's more enjoyable when you have those high expectations and meet those high expectations.
Yeah, I agree. I played in a lot of different places, as we know. I didn't mind Arizona just for a different reason. It was later in my career, and I was sitting by the pool for pregame meal, take a nice nap. Like, the weather was great. So, you know, and we didn't have a team that was winning, so it was like there was no pressure anyways. But I did play in Boston, played in Ottawa, where there's a lot of pressure. Montreal, where there's really, might as well play for the Yankees at that point. I enjoyed it. And like Carey said, Red Wings too. I mean, most of these places, they're expected to win. So more often than not, they have a competitive team, which is fun.
Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey, of course, they are two hosts on their podcast, New Heights. And Jason Kelsey threw Caitlin Clark in the conversation with Wayne Gretzky and Michael Jordan, saying there's Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, probably eventually Caitlin Clark, where it's like individual people make an entire country tune in to their sport, saying like hockey was never bigger than when Wayne Gretzky was playing it. It was ridiculous how much it grew the sport. Do you think Caitlin Clark should be in the same conversation as those two all-time greats?
I see where he was going.
That.
Yeah, that example, because we both, our faces were like, what? Where is this going?
Like, she's good, but come on.
I think the ability to draw viewers, I think she has done a great job of that. When she was in college at Iowa, you know, people showing up to Iowa to watch basketball games, people tuning in on TV to watch those games, and it has carried over to the WNBA. So in that regard, yeah. Now, will it wear off if she doesn't have success? Yes. Like, in order for it to be sustainable and continue, you got to win, and not just win games. You got to win championships. Like, you're talking about two of the greatest players to ever play the game at their, you know, respective sports. If you want to continue that and keep eyeballs on the WNBA, you got to win games and championships.
I agree, and she also has to, at some point, become the best player to watch, because the novelty of any athlete that, you know, is a splash onto the scene, the novelty wears off. Once you've seen Caitlin Clark play one time, you know, or pick an NFL guy that had like a big year and then kind of disappeared, or a hockey guy that had like a big year and then just kind of quietly disappeared. You need to have, like, every year it has to be bigger and better. And like Carey said, eventually that's going to lead to an opportunity to win a championship. There's no guarantees, because there's some great players in every sport that never won the championship. But for me, Caitlin Clark, not only does she have to be a draw now, but she has to continue to get better and dominate even more so that eyeballs stay on the product. So, all right, that's what's trending here in the Fast Lane. We come back, we're going to talk a little more Redbirds and Brendan Donovan. Is he the most important piece to this Cardinals offense? We'll get into that next here in the Fast Lane. Marshy brought this to the table here today, Carey. And the question was, is Brendan Donovan the most important piece of the Cardinals' offense? It's a fast lane here. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers. Marshy, what are you talking about?
So I love going on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it these days, and I just love seeing what Cardinal fans are thinking and whatnot. And I saw something on Twitter from Zumwalt Tyler. Says the Cards are 27-13 this season when Brendan Donovan scores a run or gets an RBI this season. They also are 22-7 when he gets on base more than once in a game. Donovan is one of the most important pieces to this offense, and I thought that was an interesting nugget there. Do you guys agree with that?
Well, based on those numbers, I'd say that
not bad.
I don't know if he's the most important piece of it, because I think that guys like Alec Burleson and Mason Wynn are doing a lot of the similar things to what Donnie has been doing, but the numbers don't lie. If your team's winning and Brendan Donovan's contributing offense, then he's a big part of it. I think my question, my follow-up question to you would be, is it a problem that Brendan Donovan might be your most important offensive piece?
It could be, just because he's not the guy that you're paying to be your best player. So from that perspective, yes. I thought the same thing when a few years ago, David Perron, he led the team in scoring. I'm like, I love David Perron, but there's other guys on your team that should probably be leading in that category. I sort of feel the same way, much like what you said. If Brendan Donovan is your quote-unquote most important piece to your offense, I don't know how great your offense truly is. But that doesn't mean that he's not a great player and this team isn't finding ways to win.
I would like to see the numbers for Mason Wynn or Alec Burleson and see how much they win when those guys get hits. But those are really good numbers. I think that he is a key component to what they do. They need him to be who he is, an energy guy, a guy that gets on base, a guy that has timely hits. He's not your guy that you expect to hit 30 home runs, but he's going to hit extra base hits. He's going to be scrappy. He's going to make sound defensive plays in the outfield or in the infield, wherever he lines up at. So, I think he's extremely important. I don't know that he's the most critical or most important piece for this team's success, though.
Yeah, so here's where I lean with it is, you've replaced Brendan Donovan at the top of the order with Mason Wynn, because Donnie last year and Nootbaar, they kind of took turns about who would lead off and who wouldn't lead off. And the start of this season, Brendan Donovan found his way into that spot as well. But then Mason Wynn has obviously proven that he deserves to be up there. So I don't know if I'm ready to say that Brendan Donovan is the most important part of your offense, because he's sitting in the 5, 6, 7 spot on any given night as far as the batting is concerned. Does he lengthen your lineup? Well, yeah, he does. He does, because he's been able to contribute and get on base and be that guy. But for me, if he's going to be the guy that ultimately makes the difference or is the most important piece, he's going to be either leadoff or he's going to be hitting at 3 and 4 in your lineup.
Here's an interesting thought that just came to my brain. We've talked about the what did you call it? The double leadoff or whatever?
Double leadoff crap.
Double leadoff crap. Let's think about that from a middle of the order standpoint. So this particular lineup has Nolan Gorman and Nolan Arenado behind Brendan Donovan. Could you see the Cardinals sticking with this and essentially having like 2 leadoff guys?
So like a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
That's an interesting thought.
Well,
It's an interesting thought.
It's just what came to my mind. I don't know if that's exactly what they're doing, but
I don't know if they're doing that out of...
I almost bit my tongue off.
Why, Carey? What's wrong?
I mean, if you're going to do that, then the second 1, 2, 3 got to hit the damn ball. The hell are we talking about?
That's... Before you almost bit your tongue off, that's where I was headed. I say, but they both have to work then.
Yeah. I think that's why they're hitting 6 and 7 and not 2 and 3, because they ain't hitting.
If they do start to hit, then it doesn't matter where you put anybody, quite honestly. You add those 2 bats to the lineup where they've got some pop, and you can plug those guys in, or Donovan, anywhere you want, because now you've got a really solid lineup.
I agree. I mean, you just have to get the best thing for this lineup, for this team, is for this man that is up at bat right now to hit a home run or drive both of these runners in and do it
Paul
consistently.
Goldschmidt, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry, hit that guy. Him. The guy that you pay a lot of money to. Him. To be your cleanup hitter and clean up the damn bases. That would be great. And then for Nolan Arenado to do the same thing when runners are on base. Hit it over the fence. Hell, I don't care.
That'd be nice.
That works.
It'd be nice.
Right? You drive guys in, people score, you win games. It don't matter that you give up 4 runs in the second inning. You win a game because your hitters, they get paid a lot of money, hit the ball and hit it hard and hit it far. Usually, Jamie, I don't know if you know this.
Okay.
You're batting in the 3 and the 4 and 5 hole.
Yeah.
Getting paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
You want to hit that ball over the fence, and then you can take your time around the base. You don't even have to run hard.
Carey, I just want to get a good swing on a good pitch.
Yeah,
and
no,
I want to drive the ball.
Drive it out of the park. Drive it and then take your time.
I'm not worried about my launch angle, okay? Because when you worry about that, you get sent back to Memphis.
Well,
okay?
When you don't worry about it, you get sent back to Memphis.
I'm going to hit line drives, and with the good Lord willing, they'll find a spot out there, and, I'll stay in the lineup.
All right. Well, hopefully that happens at some point.
Never know.
Be nice.
So, but anyways, to kind of bring it back here on the rails, Brendan Donovan is having a really good season. I can't imagine this team without him, without Mason Wynn, without Alec Burleson producing the way they are right now. They would be probably in last place.
Oh, absolutely. Or at least in 4th place. I mean, these guys have been so instrumental in this team finding success this season. Mason Wynn, Alec Burleson, Brendan Donovan. And those are the guys that I think we've been talking about that are starting to essentially recreate the Cardinal way. Like these conversations that we've been having over the course of the past few weeks, these are the guys that we've been talking about, and they're not veteran dudes. Like they've been in the league for only a few years. I think that's a lot of. I think that has a lot to do with Carey. Don't get excited now. Don't get excited.
All right.
Well, Brendan Donovan just lined out to center field, leaving the bases loaded to end the inning. So
that answers your question.
Yep.
Perfect way to end the segment, isn't it?
Wow. Unbelievable. So I guess he's just not a great player, I guess. Is that what we're coming to a conclusion of?
He's a big part of it. But here's where Brendan Donovan becomes important. Is obviously would like to have a hit there, but getting on base. The problem ultimately, or the biggest issue, is that you got to have guys, to Carey's point, that can get him home.
Yes.
Because Brendan Donovan is not a home run hitter. Does he have a touch of power where he can hit the seats every now and then? Yes, and good for him. But he's a guy that gets on base. He gets singles, he gets doubles. But you got to have the big dogs behind him that can now drive him home. And when you don't have that creates a problem with your offense. And it makes Oli's job more difficult, ultimately, because he's got to put this lineup out every day. And then once it gets past the 5 hole, there's a big drop-off.
You got a lot of questions.
And you're mixing up the pieces as much as you can, but the same results are happening.
And correct me, I mean, it is, I don't think when the Cardinals signed Matt Carpenter, they expected him to be playing as much as he has. But they need him to play right now because what else you got, right? You've had a bunch of injuries. You've
Especially
had players
left bat.
not performing.
Because you thought Burley was going to be maybe your guy off the bench.
Maybe.
But he's not.
Or you thought Lars would be playing every day. He hasn't because he's hurt. And so it's right now you have to get something from – you got to get more from Nolan Gorman. You would like to get – I mean, the average for Nolan Arenado is not bad. But the power and the ability to hit the ball – in gaps and out of the yard has not been there this year. So I don't know if he's going to hit a lot of singles. Man, that's good if you're going to get on base and somebody can drive you in, but that's not what you are paid to do.
Yeah.
You're paid to hit extra base hits, to hit the ball out of the yard, and he's not doing that well enough right now.
We got a message from I Hate Paper Straws from the Snake Pit. Carey, it's July. When will you guys concede Goldschmidt and Arenado are what they are this season? It's not going to suddenly change.
My calendar says it's June.
Yeah, it is June, bordering on July. But when's the All-Star game, Marshy?
It's in
2
July.
weeks.
It's in July, right?
Yes.
So Albert Pujols, by the way, was going to retire, went to the All-Star game, and had a great time, came back, and was a big difference maker. So if you're going to sit here and tell me that Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado can't turn their season around, I'm not going to say they're Albert Pujols. I'm just going to say they're capable of doing it.
I was going to tell him, write it down, 626 at 312. Jamie says Nolan Arenado is Albert Pujols.
I will never mistake those two guys for Albert Pujols. I can tell you that right now. My point is that they do have a certain skill set that if they get right, you could see 15 home runs from Goldie following the All-Star break. You could see 15-plus home runs from Nolan Arenado, too. You could have the Albert Pujols kind of effect on things. I'm not going to put money on it.
It could be the same.
Or it could be absolutely the same. And we're
It's
sitting here,
Albert all the way.
Janet, it always is.
You better know it.
Anyways, we'll see here how the Cardinals fare. They're down 4-2 right now to the Braves, top of the 6th. And Brendan Donovan, he's a great part of this team. I appreciate all he does. I don't think he's the biggest part of the offense, though. All right, fun part of the week coming up next here. Get on the text line, Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. It's time for Prove Me Wrong. Get those in there right now, and we'll tackle that next here on 101 ESPN.
Prove me wrong, kids. Prove me wrong.
It is that time of the week. We're back here in the fast lane. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers. Time for Prove Me Wrong. We have the honorable, very distinguished, handsome judge, Andrew Marsh.
Got that American hockey sweater
He does.
pullover on. It's
Got a very
perfect.
European look to it. Sleek.
Yeah.
All right, Judge, what do you got for us?
All right, we'll see how you do on this one. From the 314, Prove Me Wrong, the Cards are going to do something mid at the trade deadline and lose in the wild card round.
Are you kidding me? Have you seen John Mozeliak these days? That guy is tired of hearing from the St. Louis fans about how he does nothing. He is itching to pull off a blockbuster deal. He's going to get a Goldschmidt, Arenado, a Matt Holliday. That's what Mo is focused on this year. The DeWitts have told him, we cannot miss the playoffs again because we're already losing fans and we can't spend to our maximum budget. So we need a playoff share. We need to get in there. We need that extra revenue, and we need a title back here. Two birds on the bat deserve a title. So John Mozeliak is not just going to go mid. It's not going to be a John Lester, J. Happ type trade deadline. We're getting a starter in here. You're going to get that center fielder, big right bat. You heard Mo. He said right bat, but we know he meant big right bat. Mo's making some moves at the deadline, and it's going to rattle St. Louis to its core.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I don't think you believe that. For the 314, he went too far. Bonkin, Marsh. Raddick, bonk.
Oh, man.
I tried, okay, guys?
From the 636, Prove Me Wrong, the Blues have retired Country Roads and won't be bringing it back for the 2025 season.
You don't like Country Road? I mean, why would you retire? Take me home. Why wouldn't you enjoy that song? It's like, in Pittsburgh when we play our theme song. It gets the people going.
Brings
it gets them
everybody
excited.
together.
It gets everybody singing, and they're excited. And then you know what usually happens after that? A win. A goal is scored. Something great usually happens during that time frame where, that's why. Because the fans are engaged, and then they yell, shoot the puck. And then the Blues know, I got to shoot the puck. And then they score, and then they win, Marcia. You don't get rid of that song ever. It belongs here in St. Louis with the St. Louis Blues. It will last forever. Never go away.
Preach.
Ooh, you picked the wrong person.
Damn it, Judge. The heck?
I'm not a big fan of the song anymore. I think it should have stayed in 2019, along with Gloria. It was one of those things.
Whatever.
All right.
That's just my opinion. I would love to know what other people think.
Judge is supposed to use facts, but opinion's fine.
Hey.
Sorry. Hold myself in contempt.
I would love to know what everyone thinks about Country Roads. From the 661, Prove Me Wrong. Major League Baseball should do a monthly home run derby competition with the month's top hitters. It'll allow fans to see the big names, players to get more exposure, and makes a must-see event happen outside of the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, let's just worry about the fans and watching the big boppers hit home runs every month. Yeah, great idea. Till my guy blows out a shoulder or tears an oblique and can't hit a home run for me down the stretch or in the damn NLCS because he's tuckered out. He's already hit 4,000 home runs this year. No, thank you. Having it once a year at the All-Star Game is quite enough. I don't need my big boppers just ripping out of their shoes once a month just to put more money in the pockets of the owners. No, I want to win baseball games.
I'll give that to you. I don't know if Major League Baseball players love doing the home run derby.
Oh, they
That's
hate
why
it.
we see a lot of players not doing it anymore. And
There you go.
even in basketball, you don't see the best players
contest.
doing the dunk contest. I think they're just over it. And I think it may screw up some of their swings. I've heard that is a thing. Now,
I've
you
heard
could look
just
at Albert
tearing
Pujols.
something. Those guys are up there swinging for 3-4 minutes at a time. Like, oh, my God.
The 661 who asked the question says, okay, not a good idea. Sorry, Jamie.
Hey, don't take it personal. I have a job to do here.
All right, let's see if we can get another one. There is one that I saw earlier, and I was reluctant to ask the question, but it was something that came up yesterday, and I'm going to bring it up again because I did not have it this morning. From the 618, prove me wrong. Morning grip is not a bad thing.
I mean, you know, too much of that, you go blind, from what I've been told. So you have to be careful in how you utilize said morning grip, right? You want to make sure that you're not overusing it. You know, you tire yourself out, then you won't have anything to do for the rest of the day. So, yeah.
We'll be able to hold your phone.
You won't be able to hold much of anything. You know, Marshy said his hand didn't work with the morning grip.
The hand worked. You just couldn't feel it.
The sleepy hands.
Yeah, I'm going to say no. It's not a great thing.
No.
You're right. It's not a great thing. You don't love having the morning grip. Because, you know, right when you wake up, you want to check emails, you want to check your phone, and it just slides right out of your hand.
The phone?
Yes.
Okay.
Damn it. All right, this was from Hockey Bob. This is a statement. It's not a prove me wrong statement, but I'm going to throw prove me wrong on there because I just want to. Prove me wrong. Andrew is the biggest party pooper ever. He probably wants to eliminate the towel man and the power play dance as well. So what would be the point of going to the games?
Let me tell you something about Andrew. I've seen Andrew live and in action. He's no party pooper. I've seen him doing the old St. Louis two-step. 2 steps to the left, 2 steps to the right, shaking hands, hugging people, kissing people, building dreams out there, this guy, when he gets going. Now, Andrew Marsh might be a lot of things, and Carey, some of the things you say about him, partially true. However, he is not a party pooper.
Yes, of course I'm going to agree with that.
He's staying up all night. You think a guy that's a party pooper is getting 1 hour of sleep, huh?
No. Party pooper morning grip, that's for sure.
He's yeah.
All right, we got time for what? One more, I think.
We're not having a ton come in. They keep chiming in about the song Country Roads.
Well, you
we got
asked them
people
to.
chiming in about, of course, morning grip. I wanted to.
And yourself.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, man. I agree, the 636. I'm not going to say that, but here, I'll make up one while we have some time here. Prove me wrong. Now, this is from me, so you guys really need to bring it here. Okay? All right, prove me wrong. The Cardinals bullpen will be a massive issue in the second half.
No, we were talking about it earlier because what you realize is your pitchers, 80 pitches, well, every now and then you're going to have to allow them to go a little bit longer, and then your bullpen gets rested. You got Gallegos back. He's going to be able to give you some innings. Kyle Leahy didn't have a great outing thus far. He gave up a 2-run shot, but that's just one day, right? Matthew Liberatore, whenever Steven Matz comes back, he can get back in your bullpen. That helps you out in that regard. So your bullpen gets stronger, Marshy, and it gets healthier. And I mean, let's not forget about the elephant in the room. Who doesn't love Kittredge, JoJo, and Helsley, right? Sounds like a WWE a tag team match.
Yeah.
Or three guys going after it. Huh?
Triple threat.
Triple threat.
By the way, we have
Go get it.
spoiler alert for those that didn't see. And Money in the Bank. We will have Cody Rhodes. We will have Randy Orton. Kevin Owens going up against the Bloodline.
Oh, we'll see.
Sola Sikoa. You have Tamatonga, Tamaloa.
Marshy, I don't know how you feel, but I would take JoJo, Kittredge, and Helsley against the Bloodline every day of the week, right?
Hell yeah! Those guys are crazy, though.
We got time for one more,
Yeah,
Marshy?
let's do one more
All
from the
right.
314.
All right.
Prove me wrong. The 90s, great baseball teams will beat great teams in today's. I guess I don't. The wordage here is a little off, but great 90s baseball teams could beat great teams in the 2020s. Prove me wrong.
Have you seen the modern day athlete? Have you seen that? I mean, look what these guys can do. They're every average pitchers are throwing 95 to 98. Only the top dogs in the 90s, the Roger Clemens, the Randy Johnson, you could handpick them. Now you've got multiple guys on everybody's roster who can throw upwards of 100 miles an hour. And some of the nasty stuff that they have now, like, come on. And the way they run, the way they play defense, like, I love the 90s. I grew up on 90s baseball. There's no doubt about it. However, these guys are really good players.
Yeah, I would love to see these players go up against the 90s Braves.
That's what I was thinking about. The other guys, somebody had to take the case, okay?
That's all I can think about.
Every now and then you know you're going to lose.
And Maddox, okay, good luck.
Oh, my goodness. All right, that was Prove Me Wrong. We didn't do very good this week, and Anthony's going to think it's because he wasn't here. Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, we come back. Marshy came up with an interesting question. Is if you're an organization, a franchise, is it better to try and build super teams or create familiarity between the talent and have cohesiveness within the group? We're going to talk about that next here on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals trail the Atlanta Braves 6-2 in the top of the 7th inning. We'll continue giving you updates on Game 1 of this doubleheader today. If you missed anything from today's show, including our interview with Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. After the game, we'll try and catch up with Brad Thompson as well. We'll talk about today's game and how the Cardinals have been faring over this last stretch. So we're going to get into super teams versus familiarity. There was a trade that happened in the NBA that we want to discuss. We'll also expand that conversation as well to other leagues around the United States. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center Update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Fast Lane here, 101 ESPN. And Marshy, I know that you had thought up this topic, so why don't you set the stage for us?
Yeah, so the New York Knicks traded for Mikal Bridges, and I thought that was interesting because he will join his former Villanova teammates when they won the national championship, Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, and Jalen Brunson. And I thought that was interesting because we see a lot of NBA teams, and I'm sure there's other teams within other sports that try and create these super teams, like you see it with the Dodgers in Major League Baseball. But you see a lot of it happening in the NBA where they create these super teams and they don't really have all that much success. But these guys, they've played with each other before. They played in college. They found success. Now, it wasn't at the NBA level, but it was within college basketball. So I wondered, do super teams work, or would you rather have your team, your favorite team, be full of a bunch of guys that know each other and have played together for an extended period of time? Does it really come down to how much talent is on your team, or does it really rely on the cohesiveness of the group that is on the roster?
I think it's good to have, cohesiveness, guys that know each other, that played well with each other. I think the Knicks situation, it feels vastly different from, say, the Suns situation, who Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, those are three superstar players here in New York. You got four guys that can all play their role and kind of accommodate one another really, really well. So I think it does matter. In other sports, not so much, because like baseball, no, I don't think it matters. If you can go add every talented player under the sun and they all are going to work because it's individualized at the plate. You're by yourself. In basketball, having a bunch of superstars that need the ball in order to score, I think it's a little bit tougher. But this Knicks situation, they were already a really good team. Again, if they get Randall back healthy, if OG Anunoby decides to re-sign with them, they can be a really good basketball team and maybe challenge the Celtics next year.
How long ago were they teammates in Villanova?
They won the championship almost 8 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, 2016.
6 to 8 years
so
ago.
So it's been a hot minute since they've played together.
For sure.
Yeah, so things
change, Mox.
Yeah, they may not be as cohesive as they once were because, as you evolve in your career, you sometimes become different players than what you started as. And these guys now might be, used in different roles and whatnot. And like Carey said, there's only one ball out there.
Yeah.
And you've got a lot of guys that want it. We used to say that about the puck is you have too many guys, too many shooters on one line. They all want the puck.
Right.
But who the hell's going to get them the puck? Right, you gotta make sure you have the right setup as far as line mates or teammates or five guys on the court, whatever it is. I think a super team can work probably, like you said, baseball. Like the Dodgers are pretty much there. They've done their best to create their version of a super team.
Right.
I don't see, like in hockey, the super team doesn't really work. Like the closest you can come to is you had the two best players in the Edmonton Oilers, but I wouldn't say that was a super team.
Right.
And the Florida Panthers were not a super team. They were a great team together. They were cohesive, and they worked very well for each other. But look back, like the Tampa Bay Lightning even when they had a whole bunch of guys, they still had to go stock the cupboards with the gritty guys, the veteran guys. Like when they tried to win solely on their stars, it didn't work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I just don't know if the super team, it might work as a one-off somewhere.
Yeah.
Especially like in the NBA, it has happened a couple of times where
Right.
they've struck lightning on one of these seasons and the super team wins. But for the most part, I think that when you put a team together and you build a team with the right parts, those have better long-term success, I feel, than trying to put together these super teams.
And that reminds me of when you talked about the Vegas Golden Knights with the whole Alex Pietrangelo situation where you end up bringing the name's eluding me, the defenseman they brought in.
Oh, yeah. Why is it eluding me now, too? He played, I don't know. Keep going. I'll find it.
I was going to say Aaron Ekblad, but he's on the Panthers. But they had a situation where Alex Pietrangelo was used to playing a certain amount of minutes, being on a certain amount of having a defined role. But because they had so many guys on that team, he ended up being in a different spot, and ultimately it worked against them.
Noah Hannafin.
That's right.
I don't
Noah
know why
Hannafin.
it was escaping me too, but yeah, he ate up Petro's minutes. Where Petro went from first power play to second power play. They got the goalie pulled with the season on the line in the playoffs. Alex Pietrangelo was sitting on the bench. So, you have those situations, and they went and they added Tomas Hertl, and they added, and they brought back, what's his name, from LTIR, and they threw all of these great players into the pot, and it didn't work.
It didn't work.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That was. I mean, I would wonder if that didn't work because of just the inability to work together leading up to the playoffs. Like, you think you can just throw everybody in the pot and say, all right, be great. And we haven't worked together for enough time to say, how do we do this? How do we all find these ways to make all these pieces work well? So, again, with the Knicks, I think it could be a really good thing for them, especially knowing guys that you played with in college, have a relationship with. Like, it's not going to be egos. Right now, this is Jalen Brunson's team. Like when Randall gets back healthy, it was his team at one point. It ain't no more. It's Jalen Brunson's team. Mikal Bridges knows that. Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, they all understand that, and Randall will understand it as well when he comes back healthy. So I think this could really work for them. Like just an entire offseason to work together and really build. And again, you already have a relationship with those guys, so it should be really good for them.
I think it's important that you brought up working together in egos, right? Because we mentioned baseball. It doesn't really, like, the conversation doesn't really work with baseball, but I would actually push back on that. Look at the San Diego Padres. They brought in all of this talent, and I don't know if they're necessarily working all too well together because of maybe some of the egos within that clubhouse.
Well, they had everybody. They even had Juan Soto, a part of that all-star
that
team.
is weird.
And that just did not work.
It's weird that it hasn't.
Yeah.
It should work better in baseball.
It should because it's an individual game.
Right.
Within an individual competition within a team game.
Correct.
Now, they've had pitching problems, and you could look towards that as the reason why they are where they're at this year. But I do find that to be interesting because, I mean, these guys are superstars. And like you said, each player wants to think that they're the leader in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
So it's tough when there's multiple voices going on, and I think that's what can lead to not being a great team compared to what you could look like on paper. Yeah,
I agree with that. I've been on a couple of teams. Like I've told the story before where when I played with the Ottawa Senators, we were first, and we finished the season first in the Eastern Conference. We were a contender. We were, I wouldn't say a cup favorite, but certainly on the board. And at the deadline, we traded for like 3 or 4 guys to add to this. It wasn't a super team, but we had Yashin, we had Alfredson, we had Hossa, we had Havlat. Like, we had some guys.
Oh, yeah.
And the guys that they brought in were really good dudes, but it just didn't mesh. And we got eliminated first round.
Yeah.
We're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
So the thought of just adding guys or grabbing certain players and putting them on the team, it doesn't always work right away. If you're going to try and build a super team, you better have like a 3-year plan for it.
It very rarely will it work in that first year.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. All right. Well, it's always interesting to see these things evolve and to see the next super team in whatever sport that you like. Coming up next here, we had a quick edition of Blues Cues. So just send in any questions you have. It doesn't have to be just Blues. Could be NHL related. Could be something about the Stanley Cup. Send those questions into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. We'll get into that next here on 101 ESPN.
It's time for the Fast Lane's Blues Cues.
It's the Fast Lane here. 101 ESPN, Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers. We asked you for your Blues/NHL cues. Marshy, what do we got?
All right, let's start with the 636. How much input does an NHL coach have over draft selections?
Depending on your organization, certainly, I think, the more veteran coaches that you have a greater input in, maybe what they desire for their style of team or what they envision. But most of it that's the GM and the president of hockey ops and your scouting department. And it's not like it's not communicated to the coaching staff. It's not like the coach wakes up following draft day and is like, well, what do we get? It's not like they're completely on an island. But the general manager, his job, or the president, front office, their job is to put together the best team possible, and then the coach take that team and go win some hockey games. But there is communication. But again, veteran coaches or coaches with a little more clout have a little more input on, the type of player that they'd like to see the team get. But ultimately, front office makes the call, man.
From the 618, would you attempt to sign an RFA to an offer sheet? If so, who?
I wish I had a little more time to research that. I've been paying attention to the Stanley Cup final, but yeah, I would certainly entertain it. If you've got some salary cap space and you've identified a 22 or 23-year-old player that you're willing to offer a 7-year deal to and give him good money and steal him from another team, and that guy's going to be a difference maker, yeah, do it. The NHL's, I know there's a bit of a fraternity involved, but when it comes down to winning and losing in business, that goes out the window, man.
Is there a compensation from the team?
Yeah, there is.
Gives the other team what they?
Yeah,
what is that
I
compensation?
think it's like a first, a second, and maybe a third.
Because the team that he's on, they get to match it. Is that how they work?
They match or they walk away, but they get compensated with a bunch of draft picks.
Gotcha.
I'd have to research it, but yes, there's absolutely compensation. So it's not like it's not going to sting, but it's a good idea for a team like the Blues or teams that are in similar positions because they've accrued a number of draft picks over the last couple of years. Instead of trading those draft picks for, I don't know, an older guy or whatever, take those draft picks, you lose them as compensation for a young stud that comes to your team and is with you for a long time.
Let me add on to that question. How do you think the Blues would react if someone tried to offer sheet one of their RFAs?
I think that's why Army locked up guys. Because if Robert Thomas right now is just on a bridge deal, a 2 or 3 year deal, and it was expiring, and Robert Thomas would have been peaking at this point, somebody would have stepped in or certainly would have thought about offer sheeting, him and Jordan Kyrou. I know that fans are torn. Some love him, some don't, and it's a daily grind sometimes to be a fan of Jordan Kyrou. But there are a lot of teams out there that would see value in Jordan Kyrou. Yeah. And it's way worse to lose a proven guy for draft picks. Yeah. Because you got a young, proven talent, still not the finished product. But can you imagine losing a Robert Thomas right now and you get a first, second, third round? You're like, oh, that's not too bad. But you got an established 90-point player, 85 to 90-point player.
It's not like the NFL draft.
No, it's not.
It's completely different.
It's way different.
From the 618, with Vladimir Tarasenko getting his second cup, is that an automatic Hall of Fame bid?
No chance. Vladdy's not. No chance. Vladdy was a really good player for the St. Louis Blues. He only had one season where he got a point per game. He only had one season where he had 82-plus points. I think he only had one 40-goal season, if memory serves me correctly. Guys, those are not Hall of Fame numbers.
Right.
Like, I guess the argument could be said this way then, Marshy. Does Pat Maroon get in the Hockey Hall of Fame? No, he doesn't. I love the big rig.
You said it.
I know. I love him. He's got 3. But the thought process of championships, right?
Right.
Pat Maroon must get in. Well, no, he's not.
Same thing with Robert Horry in the NBA.
Big Patty would tell you that himself. He'd kind of giggle, I bet you, if you said that to him.
Marsh, I had a question.
Yeah.
I was listening to BK and Ferrari, and they were talking about Leon Draisaitl and what you would give up if you were the Blues, what they would give up. And they said they would, I think it was Alex, he can correct me if I'm wrong, he wouldn't mind Bennington, Robert Thomas, and Kyrou for Leon Draisaitl. Is Leon Draisaitl that good of a player to give up that many players?
He is, but...
Does your team get better?
No, you better be in full rebuild, because you're not... Who the hell's going to play with him?
Well, Jamie, he's going to play by himself. What are you talking about?
And he wouldn't sign here.
He probably wouldn't re-sign.
If you traded for him right now.
You would trade him not knowing that he's not going. That would just be
Yeah. So, but
catastrophic.
Someone like Leon Draisaitl likes to play with players of equal caliber.
Well, how is that easy to do when you're that good? I mean, it's one guy he can play with. He doesn't. They play the same position. So it's kind of difficult to play with him, right?
With McDavid?
Yeah.
Well, they played him every now and then.
They play him at wing every now and then.
Yeah, but they certainly play together on the power play.
So what are you complaining about? You got the best player in the world. You play with him.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying if Draisaitl was traded here...
you're not going to find another guy that good.
No. No, and if you trade Thomas, like realistically, you'd want to play Thomas with a Draisaitl. Or you'd want to play a Kyrou with a Draisaitl. It doesn't make any sense. The Oilers wouldn't make that trade either.
The Blues wouldn't either.
The Blues couldn't. The Army was unwilling to move on from Robert Thomas in other deals that come across the table for really good players, too. I can't see him moving on from your best all-around forward. You get Leon Draisaitl, but for a year. I'm good.
That's not great.
No, I'm good.
It makes a lot of sense.
From the 618, what does Jamie think of the center prospect Rutger McGroarty that once traded from Winnipeg? Could he be that number 2 center?
I mean, I guess he could be. Does he step in next year? And is he that guy? No. It's an interesting thought. I wonder what Winnipeg would want for him. I think Army definitely has the pieces that he could trade for him. I just don't know if he's a top 6 forward. And if he's not, then you've brought in another guy for your bottom 6 to be in those muddied waters where you already have those guys. So now, depending on the price, maybe I kick the tires, but just thinking about it straight up, he's not that guy right now.
You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. From the 636, if Jamie was the GM of the Blues, what would you do to shake up the back end and make us stronger?
Well, you'd have to be a real jerk, quite honestly. You'd have to go right back to having very honest conversations with maybe a couple of guys that you'd move on from. And if those conversations don't go well, then you use the waiver process. You waive the guy and tell him that you're going to put him in the minors. If he won't give you a list of teams or accept a trade, then that's fine. You'll be the number 1 defenseman in Springfield.
That's a hard conversation.
It's terrible.
And as a veteran, that is not something you would look forward to hearing.
No, if you hear that, then you're certainly more prone to accept a trade somewhere.
So if that's the case, why didn't they do that last year?
It's not something you really want to do.
I get it, but you put Krug in an uncomfortable position by essentially saying you're going to trade him and then we're unable to. Like that relationship had to get mended at somehow, some way.
Or did it?
Or did it?
I don't know.
When you see
Carey,
a guy in the hallway,
guys that play that
walk
don't
right
are best
past them.
friends. You don't have to be best friend with your boss in order to be successful.
I agree.
Why did it not happen? Because here's the way I look at it. I don't know if this is true, but I'm assuming, is you went into free agency to get Torrey Krug. So other people around the league, other players, other agents, they said, oh, wow, the Blues got Torrey Krug. They gave him $6.5 a year, and they gave him a no-trade clause.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Wait a minute. They waived him 2 years later and treated him like that?
Right.
And, by the way, when Army calls, we're not taking that call.
I agree.
I'm not going to go play for a GM that covets my player and then buries him.
Right.
So now that's just me assuming
I agree.
so Army has to be... He still has to have some ethics to him as well.
Yeah.
And I think that he asked Torrey Krug to waive his no trade. He said no. Army moved in a different direction.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this, that Army compartmentalizes these things. Doesn't care.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that happened. Okay, we're good. Move on to the next one.
But the player doesn't.
The player
Usually
sometimes has a little
not.
more difficulty.
Oh, yeah.
You get your feelings hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
Some of us just grew callous to it because it's like, oh, really? Okay, bye. But if I had a no trade and somebody asked me to waive it, I'd be like, well, you just gave me this thing.
Yeah, no thank you.
So the waiver process can work, and it certainly has an impact, but it has a really big impact of several layers of it, too. So, all right, those are your Blues cues. We'll continue doing that throughout the summer as things start to evolve in drafting and free agency and things like that. Up next, we got the Gauntlet. We do need a new contestant. So please text in 314-399-9646. Text in the word Gauntlet, and we'll get to that next here on 101 ESPN.
Warriors. 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you master the Gauntlet?
The Gauntlet is powered by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit mastor.com.
It's a fast lane here at 101 ESPN. Time is 4:03 p.m. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jeweler, an official provider of Rolex jewelry It's time for the Gauntlet, and we've got Josh with us today. Josh, how we doing, bud?
Doing good, thank you.
All right. Well, you know how this works. You got to pick your opponent. You got Carey, you got me, or you got Marshy today?
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Carey today.
Carey, all right.
That's perfect.
Carey was off cooking his food. Carey, you can go right back into the cone of silence. All right. Carey's out of here. Now all you got to do, Josh, is tell Marshy to spin that wheel.
Spin that wheel, Marshy.
All right, so you picked Carey. I would assume you don't want football against Carey?
I don't really want football against Carey, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, it's very close. Football it is.
Football it is. It was right on the cusp of baseball, and it clicked over one more. So you got football. What that means, Josh, is we're going to have 4 questions here. Each question is worth 2 points. If you use the options, answer correctly, 1 point. And, of course, if you answer wrong, you get nothing. If we're tied after 4 questions, we'll go to a tiebreaker, and we will get a winner here in the Gauntlet today. Josh, are you ready?
Ready to go.
All right, buddy. Again, football is your category. Question number 1. Name the Jets punter in 1969 who set the NFL record for longest punt in league history with a 98-yard punt.
1969. That's a little before my time, so I'm going to need the option.
All right. Was it Steve O'Neill, Sean McCarthy, or Randall Cunningham?
The first one. What was that name?
Steve O'Neill?
Yeah, we'll go Steve O'Neill. Final answer.
Okay, thank you.
Question number 2. In the famous Iron Bowl game between Alabama and Auburn, name the Auburn player that returned the Alabama missed field goal 109 yards for a touchdown to end the game in 2013.
Oh, my gosh. I'll know this as soon as I hear the name. My wife and I watched this game together. God, what was his name? I think his first name's Chris. Shoot. I can see the whole play in my head. Give me the options, Marsh.
Options are Corey Grant, Chris Davis, or Peyton Barber.
Chris Davis.
Final answer?
Final answer.
All right, Josh, question 3. In the 2011 AFC wildcard game between the Steelers and the Broncos, Tim Tebow completed an 80-yard touchdown pass to which receiver to end the game on the first play of overtime?
Oh, Tebow. Who do you throw that to? Let me get the options.
All right. Was it Eric Decker, Eddie Royal, or Demaryius Thomas?
I think it was Demaryius Thomas. Final answer.
Thank you.
Final question, Josh. In the Minneapolis Miracle against the Saints in the 2017 divisional round, who was the Vikings quarterback who completed that 61-yard touchdown pass to Stephon Diggs?
Oh. What was it? Oh. I'm sorry, I need the options.
Options are Case Keenum, Sam Bradford, or Kirk Cousins.
It's Case Keenum. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Final answer, Case Keenum.
All right. Let's get Carey back in here. He's eating lunch or an early dinner. I don't know what he's got going on, but... All right, how you feeling, bud?
Me?
Yeah, you, Josh.
I feel okay. I'm just disappointed in myself. There was a couple of them I knew that I just couldn't think of the dang name.
Well, all right. Carey's back in here. He's putting his earplugs back in.
All right.
Carey,
Yeah.
you got football.
All right.
Pack a lunch, buddy.
Okay.
I think he already has one.
Yeah, I did.
He literally has a lunch
yeah, he
with him.
does.
I brought it in
He
with me.
knew he was going to be in the Gauntlet
They
today.
got to be ready to roll.
All right. Question 1. Name the Jets punter in 1969. who set the NFL record for longest punt in league history with a 98-yard punt?
Oh. They're not going to know yet.
What?
Options, please.
All right. Was it Steve O'Neill, Sean McCarthy, or Randall Cunningham?
Really?
Yeah, I guess.
Steve O'Neill or Sean McCarthy?
Or Randall Cunningham.
It's not Randall Cunningham. Let's go with who? Steve O'Neill or who?
Sean McCarthy or Steve O'Neill?
Sean McCarthy makes me feel like J.J. McCarthy and somebody's messing with me. Give me Steve O'Neill. Final answer.
Question number 2. In the famous Iron Bowl game between Alabama and Auburn, name the Auburn player that returned the Alabama missed field goal 109 yards for a touchdown to end the game in 2013.
Is it Chris Davis? It's Davis. Is it Chris Davis? Can I say Davis?
No.
It's awful.
Negative.
Whoa, is it Chris Davis? I'm going to hate myself for this. Give me the options.
Options are Corey Grant, Chris Davis, or Peyton Barber.
Chris Davis.
Final answer?
Final answer.
All right, Carey. In the 2011 AFC wildcard game between the Steelers and the Broncos, Tim Tebow completed an 80-yard touchdown pass to which receiver to end the game on the first play of overtime?
Demaryius Thomas over Ike Taylor. Final answer.
Okay.
Question number 4. In the Minneapolis Miracle against the Saints in the 2017 divisional round, who was the Vikings quarterback who completed that 61-yard touchdown pass to Stephon Diggs?
Wasn't Kirky. It was, what year you say?
2017.
Wasn't Kirky. It was, he played here, didn't he? What is his name? I see his face.
Is he handsome?
Nah, he's average. Give me the options. God dog it.
Options are Case Keenum, Sam Bradford, or Kirk Cousins.
It's Case Keenum. Final answer. Played here.
Okay. Let's go over this. Start question number 1. Name the Jets punter in 1969 who set the NFL record for longest punt in league history with a 98-yard punt. Josh, you said Steve O'Neill. Carey, you also said Steve O'Neill. Answer is?
It is Steve O'Neill.
But you both needed the options. 1-1 after 1. Question 2. In the famous Iron Bowl game between Alabama and Auburn, name the Auburn player that returned the Alabama missed field goal 109 yards for a touchdown to end the game in 2013. Josh, you said, it's Chris something, Chris, took the options and went with Chris Davis. Carey, you on the other hand said it's Davis. Davis. Put you guys together. You had the answer. Took the options and said, yeah, Chris Davis. Answer is.
Well, it's Chris Davis.
Chris Davis. Well done, boys.
Ridiculous.
2-2 after 2. We're going to skip to question 4 now. Question 4. In the Minneapolis Miracle against the Saints in the 2017 divisional round, who was the Vikings quarterback who completed that 61-yard touchdown pass to Stephon Diggs? Josh, you said Case Keenum. Carey, you also said Case Keenum. Now, let's not forget that Sam Bradford also played for the Rams.
You want a playoff game. I'm talking about a win.
Answer is...
Yeah, it's Case Keenum.
Yeah.
But you both used the options. 3-3 after 3. Comes down to this. In the 2011 AFC wildcard game between the Steelers and the Broncos, Tim Tebow completed an 80-yard touchdown pass to which receiver to end the game on the first play of overtime? Josh, you said Demaryius Thomas. Carey, you also said Demaryius Thomas. But Carey didn't need the options. Josh.
Well, what's the answer?
It's Demaryius Thomas.
You have
Sorry,
chosen poorly.
You lose.
Josh, sorry about that, buddy. You got all of them right. Carey got you on the one without the options.
Yep.
Good job,
Good
Josh.
job, Carey.
You too.
Good job.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Josh, thanks for playing. Thanks for listening, man. Go on. Have a great day.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
See you, Josh.
All right. Bye.
Marshy, I was looking for dramatic effect.
Oh.
When I said Carey didn't use the options, Josh, you're supposed to, you chose poorly. Then you're like, well, what's the answer? What's the answer?
What if it wasn't him? Then we would have a tiebreaker.
Yeah, but then you'd have, we got a walk-off.
That's on me. That's on me.
It's okay. You know what, Andrew?
I'll learn.
Hey, you've had a hell of a day. We're going to overlook that. Okay?
Yeah, Vela, you do really well, Andrew.
He's really good at what he
Proud of
does,
you.
Carey.
Yep.
I don't like the way you badger him sometimes.
Come on, guys. Prove me wrong happened last hour.
All right. Do the Cardinals necessarily need Tommy Edman? We kind of talked about this yesterday. We're going to talk about it again today, right here on 101 ESPN. Gentlemen, are you currently using ED meds? If you are, odds are you're paying too much for those ED meds. Well, the Medicine Shop in St. Charles, they're here to help you. They are your destination for cheap ED meds. They've got a generic called sildenafil for less than $2 a pill. Prescription is required, of course. And if there's any other medicines that you require on a regular basis, and maybe you can't get to the pharmacy. Maybe your days are busy, schedule's long, kids have activities, whatever it is. Maybe you travel too much. Well, don't worry. The Medicine Shop in St. Charles, they offer free discreet shipping and delivery to your home or your workplace. That's right. They take care of you no matter whether you're home or not, and it's a fantastic service. I use it all season long, and my schedule's crazy, and I don't have to worry because the Medicine Shop has got me, and they take great care of me. And they also take great care of me when I stop by and I need something, whether it's flu season or for me, allergies are terrible. I had no luck with certain medicines. I stopped by the Medicine Shop in St. Charles. Their representative suggested a new medicine for me, and it's been fantastic. I've never been happier, and they'll treat you the exact same way, just like their family, and that's the way it should be. So please stop by and visit them, or if nothing else, get there online and check them out at stcharles.medicineshop.com. That's stcharles.medicineshop.com. right, we asked here before we went to the break if the Cardinals necessarily need Tommy Edman. It's a fast lane here. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers. It's an interesting question because we saw a tweet out there earlier today. Several people now reporting it, but the very first one that we saw, not saying they were the first because we know street cred matters here.
Oh, yeah.
But the one that Marshy saw, go ahead, Marshy.
Yeah, this is from Lynn Worthy. It said, Oli Marmol said Tommy Edman sprained his ankle doing fielding work yesterday. He's currently day-to-day as far as resuming his progression because of the ankle. Now, this tweet doesn't necessarily have to do with him never playing again or any of that. But I just kind of brought up the question of, if this guy's going to be injured all year, we're seeing other players sort of step up. Michael Ciani's having a hell of a year. You're not going to put Tommy Edman back at short because Mason Wynn's there. And when I say hell of a year, I mean in the field, of course.
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to be, no confusion
today down the left field
line. He did.
Yep.
So
he did. Taken out of the game.
It's a really interesting question because yesterday we talked about what does the outfield look like when Edman and Nupar get back into the Cardinals lineup. And now with Tommy Edman spraining his ankle during his rehab or getting better, and Michael Ciani emerging, it's kind of weird to think, do the Cardinals need Tommy Edman? Now, I know that John Mozeliak views Tommy Edman as part of the core group. He's even said as much. Well, I think it was last year at some point he talked about Tommy Edman and being part of the core group. But when Tommy Edman gets healthy, you could probably get a pretty good return for Tommy Edman. He's on a very reasonable contract right now. He is a Gold Glove player. He was a Gold Glove finalist in a different position, and he arguably could be a Gold Glove center fielder. The problem is that you already currently have a guy in Michael Ciani that people are saying that he's the leader in the clubhouse right now for the Gold Glove in center field. So, yeah, they say front runner for 2024 Gold Glove, Michael Ciani. So do you need Tommy Edman?
Well, I think the injuries continuously being set back. Now the ankle injury, I'm confused as what he was doing to turn said ankle.
He's fielding balls.
Yeah, again.
Maybe he stepped on a ball.
Okay.
Maybe he turned right when he should have turned left.
Nah, that's interesting. I don't know. I would assume it'd be more of a controlled environment. Nah, maybe that's me.
Well, but you see, his wrist was in it, not his ankle.
I'm confused. I don't know. I want more details on how he sprained his ankle. But either way, him not being in the lineup and,
answers.
I want answers. Coming back from wrist surgery, trying to figure out if he's able to get back on the field at some point. We do feel like he's your everyday center fielder if he's able to play. But with the way that Michael Ciani is playing, you don't have to rush him back. And so I think the Cardinals it's going to be interesting when everyone is healthy. We talked about this yesterday. When Lars is back healthy, when Tommy Edman is back healthy, when all of these guys are in the outfield and have an opportunity to play, who plays and who doesn't? Because if you got four guys and you only got three spots, somebody's going to be watching the game. Or somebody on the infield is going to be maybe the DH or not playing every single day. And so I think that's it's going to be interesting. I don't know that you necessarily need Tommy Edman at this point. I mean, what is he going to provide for you that you're not getting in the outfield right now?
Yeah, well, nothing in the outfield.
Correct.
It's at the plate. And I think that's ultimately what matters is, and Marshy, I believe you said this yesterday, is the drop-off from Ciani to Edman defensively in center field is marginal, right? But the drop-off at the plate is substantial.
Correct.
And Tommy Edman is not just a better hitter, he's a switch hitter, left side and right side. So ultimately, from a defensive standpoint, there's no drop-off. In fact, Michael Ciani is probably a better center fielder than what Tommy Edman is. But here's the thing. If Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado were hitting,
then it doesn't matter.
Then you wouldn't care.
You're not worried about it.
Ciani's bat, you're like, bat ninth. We don't care.
Yeah.
But with those guys not producing, you need a little more offensive punch, and Tommy Edman gives that to you more than Michael Ciani does.
But if we waiting for the offensive punch from Tommy Edman, no offense to Tommy.
Yeah.
That's more of a problem than anything
But that goes
else.
right back to our Brendan Donovan conversation. If he's the most important piece offensively for you, you might as well say Tommy Edman is, because their numbers are relatively similar.
Yeah, I think having Tommy Edman back does help with some other areas, because again, we're gonna are we not going to talk about what we're getting from Nolan Gorman every single day for the last, like, I think we talked about it a couple of days ago, but some people are okay with going weeks without hits, and I'm not one of those people. And so if you get Tommy Edman back, now you do have a situation where maybe Siani is your center fielder. Maybe you put Tommy Edman back at second base.
Oh, you mean where he won his Gold Glove?
I think that usually is what you should do. But, again, I've never played professional baseball nor managed it, so what the hell do I know? I think it would be good defensively for your team if your Gold Glove second baseman is back at second base. Or if you have, again, everyone else healthy in the outfield, now you can move you can move Donovan around and put him at second base. Mm-hmm. Something has to happen to make the lineup as good as it can be and the defense as good as it can be.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's just an interesting thought because at the start of the season, like, Tommy Edman was your automatic. And I don't know about you, Carey, or you, Marshy. I hadn't really heard anything about Michael Siani. When I heard that he was going to be part of the big league team, I was like, oh.
Well, he wasn't even slated to. I mean, Victor Scott was the first one to get the opportunity, and it just didn't go well for him at all. So they had to go in a different direction.
Too, right? Because Victor Scott, really good defensively, not very much offensively. The problem is,
he's like really bad offensively.
But he's very young, too. Yeah. Go back down to AAA, and they're trying to get him built up to be a major league hitter. Right. So they put Siani in there, and now they've got three incredible defensive center fielders.
Yeah.
They do, which makes me think if you're going to move on from one of these guys.
You going to trade one of them?
Well, if you're going to move on from one of them, who would it be?
You trading Tommy Edman?
He's got the most value, probably. Well, Victor Scott might have
He's hurt.
Carey, he won't be hurt forever.
Do you know that for sure?
I don't. Okay, I don't. Because I feel like this is the never-ending injury for Tommy Edman. It started out as like a sprained wrist. Then he had surgery. Then he's missed.
We didn't know. No one knew.
And they signed him to a contract while he was.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Is it? He hadn't played a game yet,
no.
And then he rolls his ankle. And I don't know about you, Jamie. Sometimes when you are hurt, it's easier to continue to get hurt. It's weird like that. Like, your body just finds, like, you're working on one thing. And it's probably just, like you said, maybe he stepped on something, rolled his ankle. I don't know.
He's maybe trying to, overdo it to get back, and he overran a ball. I don't know the circumstance, but
I don't either.
It's not hard in baseball to twist an ankle. Especially if you're shagging ground balls or like.
I think it's kind of hard to twist an ankle in baseball, unless you're rounding a base. And he was fielding balls.
Yeah, but he was running over.
He does it every day.
Yeah, but all it takes is one time.
Oh, God.
You know, Carey, you'd think you'd show a little more sympathy for the ankle.
I've had plenty of ankle injuries, trust me.
That's what I'm saying.
Sprained them, high ankle sprain. One of them because Ray Lewis tried to break it, but, that's similar to grounding.
You seem like such a nice guy.
Fielding ground balls. Yeah, really.
Yeah, right. All right, we got our guy BT, fresh off the call from the Cardinals' 6-2 loss to the Braves. We're going to talk to him next here in the Fast Lane.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals fall to the Atlanta Braves in Game 1 of this doubleheader today, a 6-2 final. Matthew Liberatore will be on the mound for the Cards in Game number 2, going up against Bryce Elder. First pitch is slated for 6:15. We're going to dive into today's game and also talk about the Cardinals stretch here these past few weeks and as they sit in the wild card spot. We're going to dive into that with our guy Brad Thompson. A little high heat for you with BT coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
For some high heat with BT on 101 ESPN. Inside and high.
Powered by Scott Lee Heating Company, your preferred Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor. Visit ScottLeeHeating.com.
There's no excuse for Thompson throwing at the head of right.
It's that time of the week. We head out to the celebrity line to talk to our guy BT, who was on the call for Bally Sports Midwest today. BT, how we doing, brother?
I am doing great, Jamie. Look, these Wednesdays have worked out perfect. I keep catching you guys right after ball games. Everything is fresh. Unfortunately, it's not after a victory this time, but happy to join you guys.
Yeah, so let's dive into it here a little bit. Kyle Gibson battling through one today. From your perspective, kind of where did it go wrong for him?
You know what? I feel like, and I was hoping it wasn't going to be the case going into it. And Chip asked me the question with the long layoff for Kyle Gibson. Did I think that there would be any rust? And I thought with the veteran guy, he'd be able to figure it out and work through it. But it did look like there was some rust there. Remember, he hadn't pitched in 12 days. He was scratched from his last start, Jamie, when we were in Miami about 20 minutes before the start with that tight back that he had. And you could just tell that he was really feeling for it. Had a tough time repeating pitches and being able to make adjustments. Early in the count, he was up in the zone quite a bit. That second inning really got away from him. That's where he gave up all the runs. He walked 4 in that inning. Not shockingly, or walked 4 overall. Not shockingly, 2 of the 4 that he walked ended up coming around to score. But he was just rusty. It was one of those coming into the game. The 11 starts before that, he had been dealing. He had an ERA under 2.5. So I think you give the veteran the pass and realize everybody's going to have off days, and you look forward to seeing him next time out.
BT, I want to know, how tough is it for a manager to manage a doubleheader with the pitching staff, knowing that you really don't want to blow the bullpen up in Game 1?
No, you're right. It's really tough. And we were talking about that, Carey, in the broadcast during that second inning as Kyle threw. I think he threw right around 40 pitches in that second inning. How important it was going to be for him to give you some sort of length in this game, because you only have so many innings that were sitting out there. So Kyle Leahy did a nice job of eating up 3 innings. That was big. You got to see Giovanni Gallegos and King ended up throwing that 9th inning. But it's very difficult because you want to make sure that you're banking your innings. Now, you do have the luxury of, in the second game, during doubleheaders, you have a 27th man, and it has to be agreed upon by both managers when you're going to use them. You can agree to use your 27th man for both games, but the Braves are going to be using their 27th man as their starter, Bryce Elder. So the Cardinals will have Chris Roycroft as their 27th guy. So you can pretty much guarantee that he's going to end up pitching because he's going to have to go right back. Remember, he was just sent down recently. You have to be down for 15 days before being recalled in general, different rules with the 27th man. But it makes it hard. Like, you have to make sure you're getting something out of your starters. You got to make sure you don't burn out all of your guys. And in a game, look, it was tight, but the Cardinals were on the losing side of things. You're not going to deploy any of your big guns that you want to have available in this rubber match.
BT, what do you think the strategy is for Oli to go with the Liberatore start in lieu of the Palante start?
Yeah, I think that he wanted to. They were going to have a bullpen day anyhow coming up, and the plan was that bullpen day was going to be Friday.
And it's because their starters need a blow. I mean, you've got a veteran group of starters. These guys have been going hard. They're taking the ball every fifth day. So they were going to do that anyways. So I think that they just decided, hey, today's going to be the day. They go with the lefty Liberatore. In a perfect world, honestly, guys, you have somebody ready at AAA to take this start that you feel comfortable about that can give you 5 innings. And right now they just don't have that guy. Kloffenstein, he ended up throwing in the ball game last night for Memphis. I believe that if he didn't throw in that game, he very well could have gotten the nod and been the guy starting in this second game. But then the idea is you go Michaelis tomorrow, you go Palante on Friday. But I will say this, again, Carey, going back to your question of how hard is it managing a bullpen, Palante is going to have his spikes on and he's going to be in the bullpen for the second game. So if you need him, he's going to be out there, and then you make changes for Friday. Maybe you see Zach Thompson potentially, just throwing out a name, but he would make some sense in a game on Friday. But you want to be able to give your starters a little bit more of a rest, and then, being able to do this, it pushes everybody back a day.
BT, what did you make of Nolan Arenado being moved to the 6 hole? Is that much ado about nothing, or is that a sign of maybe what we're going to see going forward?
Oh, I really don't think it's something. We talked to Oli about this. It's not something that he plans on having for a while, and Nolan doesn't plan on hitting 6 forever. But you got a guy that's been dealing with some injuries anyhow. He got hit with 96 in his right elbow. He's dealing with stuff with his left forearm. Just got an injection a couple of days ago, trying to feel through some things. And right now you have some better options, the way that they're swinging the bat ahead of him. So you put him there. He wants to be in. He had told Oli before the game, came into his office, actually called him last night and said, hey, I want to be in both games as a doubleheader. So we'll see. I believe that he'll be in there in the second game, assuming that he came out well, came out strong after that first one. So you love seeing that. He's got a great attitude about it. But you know what he is. I mean, he's a 4-hole hitter. That's what he's been his entire career. So I would say it's more much ado about nothing, but it's getting him in this lineup and letting him ease into things and try to get healthy.
BT, do you have any concern about Nolan Gorman? He's a very streaky hitter. When he's hitting them, he's hitting them. When he's not, he's not. Do you have any concern about him?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. You want to see guys continue to grow and get better and better. And while he does lead your ball club in home runs with 16 of them, he also leads you in strikeouts by a wide margin. Is up there. I think only Ellie De La Cruz of the Reds has more strikeouts than Gorman does. So that is something that it's always going to be part of his game. But you'd love to be able to curtail it a little bit, and you'd love to be able to have a little bit more consistency. And I feel like his swing is always going to have a little uppercut to it. He's not going to have that Lars Nootbaar flat swing at the top of the zone. But I feel like when he's in ruts like this, Carey, that he's really getting under everything and really trying to lift. You see the shoulders dip, and right now you're really seeing his hips. When you watch his swing, you're seeing the front hip, his right hip, and his right shoulder pull off the baseball quite a bit, so he's susceptible to anything that's away. He is streaky. He is working every single day tirelessly, right, to get better and to get on the right track. But, yeah, it's a concern. This is a guy that you were hoping to lean on offensively this year, and he is going through the ups and downs. The beauty of it is, though, even with his ups and downs and the overall inconsistency of your stars of Goldie and Arenado, look what you've been doing offensively in the last month plus. I mean, we keep going using Mother's Day as a reference, and we do it because the offense has been really good and the pitching has been really good since then. Offensively, they're scoring almost 5 runs a game since Mother's Day. Pitching staff has been doing their job. So at the end of the day, everybody top to bottom is doing their job, and you just hope that you get to a point where you hit that sweet spot and everybody's clicking, and then you'll actually take a little pressure off of that pitching staff.
Talking to Brad Thompson here, World Series champion and analyst on Bally Sports Midwest. BT, shifting gears just a little bit here. I've got 2 questions. One's real quick. What's the update on Tommy Edman? We heard he twisted his ankle, he sprained his ankle. Do you know how he did that and how serious it might be?
Yeah, I do not. I do not have an update on him. It's my understanding, probably just as clear as yours. I got that news after we had already sat down and talked to Oli this morning, so maybe we'll get an update in this second game. I know Jim Hayes will be talking to him in between games, so maybe we'll get an update on Tommy. It's my understanding, I think that he tweaked it fielding a ground ball and sprained it, but as to the severity, I have no idea with that one, Jamie. I hope it's not a big one. Can't wait to get this team back healthy. So hopefully it's not a huge setback for Tommy, who's already incredibly frustrated with the way this season's gone.
Yeah, I agree. And to move it forward a little bit, let's pretend the team is healthy, because Carey and I have had 2 days here now where we've had some debates about what the outfield ultimately might look like. It gets pretty crowded pretty quickly once everybody's healthy, and you got guys like Michael Ciani, who's playing Gold Glove defense, Alec Burleson, who's introduced himself to the league as an everyday guy now. It's going to be pretty tough for Oli moving forward.
It's a good problem to have, though, isn't it? But you're absolutely right, and it's funny you say that, because we posed that exact question to Oli yesterday, and he sat down and he was thinking about it. The wheels were turning. He's writing down, scrawling down lineups of what it looks like, but he did so with a smile on his face. Look, if Tommy Edman is going to be healthy for you, he's going to be playing. He'll likely be in center field, but I think that with what Michael Ciani has done, you would see a little mix and match in center field. I think that against right-handed pitching, you'd see Ciani. Against left-handed pitching, you'd see Tommy Edman. I think that you also have that flexibility at second base where you put Tommy there and you DH Gorman. It's nice to have interchangeable pieces, isn't it? The hard part with the outfield when you look at it with everybody healthy is how do you get Burleson and Donovan in the lineup at the same time, because those are two of your best hitters. But when you have the good options, look, creativity is going to be a beautiful thing. Newt's getting closer and closer. But, yeah, it was funny asking him that question. He was smiling because you haven't had the envisioned outfield all season long. I mean, this was supposed to be one that had Jordan Walker in right and Tommy Edman in center, and just hasn't been the case for this team. So will be nice when you actually have those options, and hopefully it just provides more flexibility for Oli.
All right, BT, go get a Gatorade in you, some water, rehydrate. You got another game to call here very shortly. We appreciate your time, brother, as always.
Stay hydrated.
Guys, I miss you. You guys always hydrate. You know that. I'll hydrate more after the game. That's kind of more of my routine. But, hey, you guys have a great show. I'll talk to you later.
You got it, buddy. Thanks a lot, man. All right, that was Brad Thompson, World Series champion, former Cardinals pitcher, shedding some light on a few things there.
You dropped one. Former Fast Lane co-host, probably. I mean, when he lists his things on
You're right.
his resume.
Can I try it again?
Yeah, please do. Okay.
All right, that was Brad Thompson, former co-host of the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN, Bally Sports Midwest analyst and World Series champion.
There you go. In that order. Yep.
Okay.
I agree. Yep, I think so.
All right. Well, we got our eyes peeled for a lineup. At some point, we'll get to the lineup game, but we're going to go to the Sports Six-Pack next. So if you have a question, text it in, 314-399-9646. We'll see how many questions we get in, and if we get a lineup in the middle, we'll split the six-pack up. We don't care when we have our six-pack, Carey, as long as we get it, right?
As long as you finish it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's coming up next here, 101 ESPN.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers. It's time for the Sports Six-Pack.
Question number 1.
Let's start off with FedEx Brian. Jamie, I know that there are certain rules and criteria to have your name written on the Stanley Cup. Can you go more in-depth as far as what needs to be done as a player? I know that there's certain rules as far as games played during the season and or the playoffs, but I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, so you can play, you get your name on the cup if you've played 50% of the games during the regular season or more. Mm-hmm. And if not, if you play in one of the Stanley Cup final games, not the playoffs, but the finals.
Oh, cool.
So now the team can, and teams have petitioned in the past for certain guys to get on the cup, even though they didn't meet both criterias or one. Sometimes it's due to injury and things like that. So, yes, ultimately the team can petition, but not everybody gets their name on the cup. But those are the two biggest ways to get your name on the cup.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish we did something like that.
Yeah, that sucks that the Lombardi Trophy doesn't get the names on it.
It's not big enough, though.
No, it's not. But the cup, with the Stanley Cup.
And you know what I do wish? I wish we got the trophy for a day. Like,
you don't?
No.
Really?
I have a miniature trophy. It's a
replica.
A replica.
Yeah.
A resemblance. A replica of the Lombardi Trophy. It's a smaller version.
Why don't you guys get the trophy for it?
We don't get it for a day.
That's weird.
It is. Yeah, we also don't drink champagne in the locker room, which is weirder.
What?
Beer, champagne, yeah.
So how much time?
Wait, stop, hang on.
We didn't have
when you win, you don't celebrate.
No, we
No. I mean, immediately after.
No, we celebrate. We had beverages. We just don't have,
there's
like
no
baseball.
spraying.
Yeah, there's no spraying. There's no taping off of the locker room where they have beer and beer goggles and. Yeah,
What's wrong with you guys? Why didn't you guys change that?
We should have.
Somebody's going to have to change that. Somebody in football should change it. Be like, you know what? Hang on. If we win, and we're winning in the fourth quarter, you tape those things up there, and you get me a tub full of champagne.
That would be ideal.
Yeah. I feel bad.
Yeah. We did celebrate.
Well, I knew that. No mistake in that. I know that.
Yeah.
How long do you think you personally had your hands on the Lombardi Trophy?
Oh, I don't know. It felt like a lifetime, though. Because one thing that was, Mike Tomlin is really good at, giving you a description of what things are going to be like. And he, all week long, just talking about kissing and touching and holding a sticky Lombardi. It's sticky from all the different hands and lips. And by the time you get to it, everybody has touched this
Everybody's
thing.
had a turn.
Everyone has had a turn and everyone has kissed it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you don't know. So I don't remember. It was in the locker room. The media guy, or I don't know whoever was walking it around was passing it around, and we took pictures with it, kissed it. But it was.
Yeah, you don't care at that point.
It was whatever.
Yeah.
You know how hard I worked to get this damn thing in my hands?
Care.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Was there obviously you see once the Stanley Cup is presented, there's somewhat of an, there's an order.
A pecking order, yeah.
There's a pecking order. Did you guys have that?
So ours, we're on the stage. So the MVP, the Super Bowl MVP, the top players, they're on the stage. So they're the owner, the coach, and then the starting quarterback or the MVP, Super Bowl MVP. They're the first ones to touch it. And then it's passed along. Mm-hmm. And so
did it bother
everybody
you guys
gets
that the owner's the first guy to touch the trophy?
Nah, whatever.
I never liked that. I'm like, he paid for it.
He put the team together.
Yeah, but he didn't take one snap.
No, didn't. But it is what it is.
All right.
Buddy was a part of signing your contract.
There you go.
Yeah, but so is the owner.
No, I agree with you.
So is Tom Stillman.
For sure.
And Tom Stillman wasn't the one down there saying, hey, sorry, Petro, let me hold it first.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Just interesting how two major professional sports have different ways of doing it. It's intriguing.
Question number 2.
From the 314, if all of you had one at-bat in pro baseball, What would your walk-up song be?
Oh, easy for me. Kid Rock, I'm a cowboy, baby.
Oh, that's a very good question.
That was my goal song when I played in the American League.
Oh, you guys had goal songs?
Yeah, so the Chicago Wolves, they sent out a little sheet at the start of the season, like what you want your goal song to be.
Mm-hmm.
And some guys picked different songs. We had a guy named Brett Sterling. He was born in California, so he was like, California knows how to party. And I was just like, you know what? I'm a cowboy, baby.
Yeah. Mine, probably some Tupac, Ambitious as a Rider. Like, I won't deny it, I'm a straight rider. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
All right. Marshy, what about you?
I have no idea. I've never really thought about this, which is insane because I feel like
you've thought about everything.
You think about everything, especially a walk-up song. Even if you don't play baseball, you're like, what would my walk-up song be?
As you're at the field, you're usually like, well, I'd like my song to be this or that.
Oh, man. I have no idea. Like, I literally can't think of a song right now that would truly represent me as a baseball player. I know that sucks, but it's kind of a crappy answer. But
no, it's good.
But you think about it and get back to it.
Yeah, so
I'll think about it.
Before we move on to the next question, I want to go back to the last conversation we had because it just kind of popped in my head. We always talk about documentaries, right? Mm-hmm. And we talk about Hard Knocks and the Dynasty and all that stuff. I think it would be cool if they took one calendar year and they went behind the scenes with the NBA, the NHL, MLB, and the NFL with the teams that win the trophy. What happens the moment the clock hits 0?
Yeah.
Boom. And take us behind the scenes. Now, there's certain things you wouldn't be able to show.
Show it all.
Yeah, that'd be fun. But
it's called Champions on Netflix.
Yeah, but
there you go.
Coming in 2026.
But how great would that be? You get to see,
cool.
like, so Carey was talking about how different it is.
Yeah.
And then Major League Baseball is probably different. The NBA is different. The NHL, certainly we see a lot more of that on social media, how that goes. I think it'd be kind of fun. You pick 4 or 5 guys, maybe a star player, an older player, a rookie, a blue-collar guy, and what's their journey following when the clock hits 0?
My mind was glorious.
I know. So would it be fun to have a camera and you'd be able to talk about it a little bit?
It was exciting.
And Netflix, call me.
Apparently
might have to call them.
No, I got my number.
All right.
Apparently the lineup's out. Let's get to one more question.
All right, we'll do one more question. We'll split the 6-pack with this last question.
Question number 3.
From the 618, as a player, have you ever been booed by fans, and did it motivate you and your teammates?
Oh, I got booed in every building I played in.
Played in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I got booed. I got things thrown on me. It was glorious. The moment I could start getting booed or yelled at by the home crowd, I knew I was doing my job.
Doing a good job. Yep.
Yeah. Now, I did not get booed at home ever, which is good.
That is a good thing.
Some guys deal with that. It's not fun.
That's good.
But no, for my job and what I did, the moment they started yelling at me, throwing things, or booing me,
you're doing a good job.
That motivated me. It made me want to go out and be a bigger, you know what? I tried 3-4 words in my head. I'm like, they're all bad. They're all bad. Get out. Get out.
Yeah, getting booed is it's a rite of passage. When the opposing team is booing you, it does mean you're doing something well.
Absolutely.
You're doing something good.
Absolutely.
And then when you can have the interaction with them, like I don't know how it is. Like on the sidelines, you can converse back and forth with fans depending on how close they are. With the glass, is it easy for you all to, on the bench, is it easy to have a conversation?
Not really. Like where I was on defense, like for the first and third period, every time you're at the opening, so people, there's no glass right there. And those people are the ones that light you up like a Christmas tree the whole game.
Yeah.
And it was fun. There's a guy in L.A. that was notorious for being just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, one time he came and he threw a jersey at me in L.A., like this crappy L.A. Kings jersey. And I was like, looking at him, he goes, put it on. You've been our best player all night. I was like, I ain't even mad. That's really good. That was really good. So, yeah, he was legendary, that guy.
That's funny.
All right, that's your sports 3-pack for now. We got the lineup game coming up next here on 101 ESPN. being a doubleheader tonight, we've got a lineup game here. So we'll get to that here in the Fast Lane with Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers. Carey, well, who we got on the bump, Marshy, first of all?
Bryce Elder is on the mound today for the Braves.
The elder statesman.
Is he an LHP or an RHP?
Well, you guys told me you don't want me to say the abbreviation.
Okay.
He is a right-handed pitcher.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Carey, what do you think for the leadoff here?
Yeah, you go the same route.
You think?
Why? If it ain't broke.
You think he
keep
gets
going.
rest, maybe?
Yeah, he need rest.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
rest last night. Show us Mason Witten.
I'm watching the Futures game, and this thing's all over Instagram. It's like, this guy threw a ball 100 across the time. That's awesome, but, like, how many throwing errors does he have?
Shut up!
All right. Alec Burleson here?
Sure. You don't like
Dylan
it?
Carlson? Nah, no. I'm just...
Dylan Carlson.
Okay, you know what, Carey? It's been a long day. We're in the 5 o'clock hour. I'm just double-checking, okay?
I apologize. That was very judgmental of me.
Alec Burleson.
You know, kind of closed my eyes and swung at it and did what I wanted to do.
Bully to the rescue!
Okay, so this was Wilson Contreras. I think it stays Contreras, but I think Pahi's catches.
Okay.
Well, they're not going to put Contreras behind the dish twice in a row. But I think he'll hit.
It's his job. But
I think he'll
want
hit.
him to do his job. Man.
What do you think?
I think it's Wilson Contreras hitting.
All right. Show us Wilson Contreras.
DH.
No.
Adjustment. Check.
All right.
All right. Who's batting cleanup last game?
Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah, he had a hit.
So far, so good. Let's try to back out. Show us Paul Goldschmidt.
Gold. Rich with gold. Gold.
All right. Is this Donnie Baseball?
Why wouldn't it be?
I mean, he's the biggest offensive threat on the team, right?
That's what Marshy said. And I believe Marshy.
Show us Donnie Baseball.
Donnie.
Hey, this headband's pretty cool.
I'm proud of you.
Is this
It's Goldie. It's Arenado.
Go ahead.
Show us Nolan Arenado.
He's a Gold Glove winner and perennial All-Star.
Oh, listen to Mr. Gold Glove over here.
Come on.
Okay, so now's when it gets a little muddy.
Don't panic. All right.
All right. So 7 was who last game?
Carpenter.
Yeah.
But he was your DH. And you don't think Contreras is behind the plate?
I think this is Gorman.
Oh, it was Gorman earlier today. All right, I apologize.
I think this is Gorman.
He didn't have a hit, but go ahead.
Show us. Get your popcorn ready.
Get your fresh organic popcorn.
Get your popcorn ready.
Now, this was
Carp
yesterday.
I think
today.
this is Pahez.
You really don't think Wilson is catching again?
I don't think you're going to catch him twice in the same day. No.
Go ahead. I like that idea.
Show us Petey Pages. There we go. Okay, so this is...
Is it right-handed pitcher? Is it RHP?
It is. But Dylan Carlson, does he get to play the second game here?
No, Siani, he came in for Siani.
He did.
Let's not overthink this. We actually had a perfect game going.
I know.
No, I'm not supposed to say that.
Oh.
It's the radio
There we go.
jinx.
Now you did it, Carey. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Just wanted you to know in case you didn't know.
No, it's fine. Thank you for telling me.
I don't think we should overthink this.
All right,
Siani had a double. He came out. He was pinch hit for because the lefty came in.
Yeah.
It's a right-handed pitcher, correct, Marshall?
It is.
Third time asking, just checking. You want me to do it?
You go ahead.
Show us Michael Siani.
Oh, guys.
Michael.
Yes!
Michael.
No such thing as an
Phelps.
announcer.
Michael Phelps. All right. Perfect game. Marshy, what do we got?
All right, leading off the shortstop, Mason Wynn. Batting second in right field, Alec Burleson. Batting third, the DH, Wilson Contreras. Your cleanup hitter, first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt. Batting fifth in left field, Brendan Donovan. Batting sixth, the third baseman, Nolan Arenado. Batting seventh, second baseman, Nolan Gorman. Batting eighth, catching behind the dish is Pedro Pajes. And batting ninth in center field, Michael Siani.
Back. Stay fair. Stay fair.
Go foul!
I don't believe what I just saw.
Home run.
All right, nobody got one, obviously. So, Marshy, it's you and me still tied?
Yes, you can go first.
Oh, wow, look at that. So polite. What a great young man.
Well, you have all the numbers. Did you get the Piddle statistics?
No.
Oh, he didn't get it.
So what happens if your pick tonight hits a home run without the Piddle predicts?
Well, we keep the Piddles predicts as a resource, but we allow ourselves to go rogue, too.
Yeah.
I'm going Alec Burleson. I think Big Burley's going to bop one. He's a two-pointer for me. I could use that.
All right. I don't want to play the catch-up game. I've been trying for a while, and it ain't been. Give me Brendan Donovan. No, it's not my turn, is it?
Whoa!
Sorry.
That's a bit of a catch-up game, too, there.
I was trying to go.
Because you said that, Carey, I am going to pick Brendan Donovan.
Way to go, Carey.
I ruined that, didn't I?
A little bit. Go ahead.
All right. Well, he didn't have a hit last game. And if he's going to hit a home run this game. Yeah, give me Wilson Contreras.
Okay. And what does Anthony have?
So usually when we are out, we'll ask for our picks, and we'll give more than one because some could have been chosen.
Correct.
So Anthony had Brendan Donovan, Alec Burleson, and Wilson Contreras. So his fourth pick, which will be the one that we pick for him, is Nolan Gorman.
Oh, wow.
Good luck with that. He does lead the team in home runs, though.
He does.
Not a bad pick.
All right. That's your Cardinals lineup. That's the home run game. We're going to dive back into the sports six-pack. We got the three-pack coming up. So, again, your questions to 314-399-9646. We'll get right into that here on 101 ESPN. Stella Artois is partnering with Hot Ones to bring hot wings and hot trivia questions to St. Louis. You can sign up now to compete in 3 rounds of trivia where the questions get more difficult as the wings get hotter. You can visit Cyberg's or Hot Shots locations to sign up to participate and compete in the competition for an awesome STL Staycation grand prize. Or just come and hang out, watch the festivities, enjoy some free Stella samplings, and your chance at attendance prizes. The first event, by the way, is this Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. with me over at Cyberg's at the Dorset location that's located at 2430 Old Dorset Road in Maryland Heights. It's going to be an awesome time. The way it works is you have your trivia questions, and when you get them wrong, you have to sample the hot sauce that they have there, the Hot Ones, and then teams get eliminated, and the sauces get hotter as we go. And, of course, you can wash all of that down with an ice cold Stella Artois from Anheuser-Busch. You're not going to want to miss it at all. Again, that's this Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. with me over at Cyberg's located at Dorset. It's going to be a great time. Please stop by and join us.
have a question.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. And I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
Welcome back here to the Fast Lane, 101 ESPN. We're going to finish off the Sports Six-Pack with the last three questions.
Question number 4.
All right, this one comes from the 636. Jamie, I don't know if maybe you covered this already, and I know it's easy to armchair it, but with as gassed as the Oilers players were that last minute Monday night, would you not have tried to get some fresher legs out there? Just seemed like they had zero chance to dig any deeper. Those guys were absolutely spent.
Yeah, that's a tough call for the coaching staff. You know, for me as a coach, I like to pull the goalie a little earlier so that I can get my top unit out there twice. So you get them out there. You know, for me, pull the goalie around the 3-minute mark. You get a minute and a half, maybe, of your top guys, even 45 seconds. Come back with your next group of guys, fresh legs out there, and then you come back again with your top group to finish out the game. But it's not always that easy. And how easy would it be for Chris Knobloch to look down on the ice and say, no, McDavid and Draisaitl, you guys aren't out there? No. You can't say that.
Got to go.
They got to go for it. So it's easy in theory, again, to say that, oh, we should have had some fresh legs out there. But are you really the coach that pulls off some of the greatest players in the league?
No.
That are looking at you saying, don't you dare take me off this ice or I will kill you?
And as one of the players that are, you know, the greatest players, the best players on your team, they don't want to come off that ice at that moment.
They don't want to be off
there. And you would probably literally have to drag them off to get them off.
Can you imagine Connor McDavid if the coach said, hey, Connor, have a seat?
No.
Who are you talking to? He would have just said on the ice, said, no.
I'm not going anywhere.
No.
I will figure it out. So, yeah, that's a tough situation to be in. You want those guys to finish it out, but you don't want them out there, you know, dragging ass, moving slowly. But at some point, you just got to go for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Question number 5.
This one's interesting. From the 618. So, Marsh, are we going to talk about this rain out yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
From at least 6:30 to 8:30, there was barely, if any, rain. I was at the game and could tell that the game was never going to happen. They didn't remove the tarp after the ceremonial first pitches, and outside of the guys in the lineup, I never saw another player or a pitcher ever start warming up. My thought is, since everything in the stadium is electronic, that they don't call the game until they reach a certain dollar amount of concessions. With that being said, I tried the bacon-wrapped hot dog, and that thing is amazing. If you guys haven't had it, it's a must-get at your next game.
I'm going to try it out.
So many layers here to dive into. I saw a tweet last night from somebody that said the same thing, and I thought of you, Marshy, right away. And they basically said, yeah, there's no chance of this game being played yet. Here we are. Everybody's in here buying food and like, so it's a tough call. So, I don't know when you're supposed to call it.
Here's what I feel, and Marshy, maybe this makes sense to you. They probably knew early on because Kyle Gibson and Ronaldo, is it Lopez?
Yes.
Both started tonight. So it's not like they were warming up all night, preparing for a game last night. Like, they knew, we can shut her down. We're going to have a game tomorrow. So the players knew. Coaches, managers probably knew. You fans, you find out when you find out.
But I don't know what the solution is to this. Because then, you know, what if the weather does blow over? What if you find a window where you can...
It was a window last night, 2 hours. Major League games going how long now?
Yeah, but you hopefully have a window of 2 hours, or you play it the next day and you get a full game in.
And you should make that decision early on so people can go home.
I think it's probably harder than it seems for those teams. I would imagine.
I feel like if both pitchers are starting the next day, like when it happened at your game,
don't remind
Imanaga didn't pitch.
Yeah, he was
like
Michaelis was playing catch.
Michaelis was chilling. He pitched the next day. Imanaga didn't because he was full throttle preparing to play.
Well, that's because the home team ultimately is the one who decides to call the game.
Well, I think that they decided that the doubleheader was going to happen, or not going to happen, I guess. That's when they decided, hey, let's just give this guy some rest just because that's what they wanted to do. Was that the right call for the Cubs? Maybe not, because he got shelled the next time out against the Brewers.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for this July 13th game. That's when that rescheduled Cubs game is. So hopefully I can go to the game. There's no rain. Because if it gets rained out again, I am going to throw an absolute fit. A fit, Carey. I'm going to be the worst person to be around come Monday.
I hope they play.
Although it would be good content if they don't.
Be great radio.
But I hope they get that game in. I feel bad for the texter because they wanted to watch the game.
Marshy's been there, man.
I've been there. I felt what you feel right now. But what I find interesting is I was listening to the radio broadcast on the way home, and I got home maybe around like 7, and they were already saying that there were other storms coming in around like 8 o'clock, 8:30. Maybe not storms, but like it was supposed to rain. So why, if you know that's quote unquote coming, why not just cancel the game right then and there?
Well, why not?
I don't know.
Why not, Jamie? You're a businessman. Tell us about your business brain.
Well, my business brain says that financially makes way more sense to keep everybody in the building buying stuff.
You're here already. Wow.
Next question, please.
By the way, I have chosen my walk-up song. I'm going to go with Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song.
Oh, look at you going back for a classic.
You know, when I walk up to the plate.
Okay.
All right.
That's how I'll feel when a 100-plus mile-an-hour fastball is coming.
Buzzes right by you.
Right by my face.
You don't see it, you just hear it.
I just hear it. I'll be up there and I'm like, did you throw the baseball?
Yeah.
Catcher's throwing it
back to the pitcher.
Catcher's throwing it back. You're still waiting. Oh, he threw it already.
Why didn't you swing at it? I was taking the first pitch. Got to take one.
And the second and the third.
Yeah. Maybe I'd draw a walk. I don't know.
Who's pitching?
Oh.
I just asked
Carey,
who's pitching.
Next question, please.
Play for the question number 6.
This is an interesting question from the 636. Is it possible for a player to be arrested during a victory parade?
Oh, no.
It happened in...
Can it?
Yeah, it
depends on what you're
almost
doing.
happened when Colorado won the Stanley Cup. Byron Boehm? Yeah, that's it.
The defenseman?
Yeah. He was over, he's so young, he was over like with the crowd and he like jumped in like the people and like slammed a beer with them.
Remember seeing
and then he
that.
like hopped back over and the cops were like grabbed him and like and then another guy came running over like
he's a player.
And he's like, I'm a player. And somebody else came running over.
I do remember that.
But had he not get like if somebody didn't see it for some reason, he's probably like back out of there.
Probably.
So that's the only one I've ever really seen.
It's a celebration. People are having a good time. People are skipping work, hanging out of windows if they are at work. Like it's you get arrested.
Now I feel like fans could be arrested.
No question. They probably go too far.
Yeah, you know what's amazing, and I don't know about your Super Bowl parade. The Blues one here. One, it was wild. It was just people, like you said, hanging out of windows.
There was a guy at a light pole.
Top of buildings, hanging down. Like I was like, oh my gosh. But I talked to a bunch of city police officers, and they said, he had a couple of little wee things, but for the most part, like everybody was really well behaved, had a great time. And so I was like happy with that because it is a celebration. You don't want some people ruining the celebration just because they've got
too much
whatever.
Had too much beverage that day. For us, it was absolutely amazing because it felt like it was cold, obviously. It's February. But it felt like the entire city stopped.
Oh, yeah.
If people were at work, and I'm not joking, literally hanging out of the windows as best they could, watching the parade. And so, yeah, it's something you never forget, just watching that moment and obviously the beverages that are flowing.
Yeah.
It's not that cold when you're having beverages. Warms up pretty quickly, you know.
You get a blanket.
Yeah, warms you up.
You get a whiskey blanket.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We do get a text from the 636, and I
Uh-oh.
find this interesting. Softball at Forest Park was not canceled last night. Beers were flowing.
Softball, those guys are grittier.
Yeah,
They're
probably.
grittier.
Probably.
Quite honest, let's be honest. The softball guys, they were going to go out there anyways, play or not, and drink the beers.
There you go.
So you might as well slide around in the mud a little bit.
Absolutely.
So you can go tell your wife, oh, by the way, honey, we had to play.
Even if the game wasn't canceled.
They're sliding around anyways.
Or even if it was canceled, at home the game was not canceled.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes.
Yes. You come home smelling like beer. We won.
Yeah.
We won.
It was raining out. You look like you didn't even play. No, that's not true.
A great dugout. All right, that's your sports six-pack. When we come back, we've got Beat the Streak, biggest question of the day. Right here on 101 ESPN. Listen up, fellas. You hear me and Anthony on here talking about mentality all the time, and it never fails. I get people that come up to me in the gym or even at certain sporting events and, hey, does that really work? And I'm like, yes, it absolutely does. And it's not like a supplement or a fad out there. No, this is your body. So, guys, you start to get run down as you get older. You're tired. You're irritable. You just don't feel like yourself. That's because most of the time it's low testosterone. And if that's the case, there's nothing you can do about it. Get into mentality. They can help you. Board-certified physicians sit down with you, and they ask you a few questions, and they know right away. They know right away what's going on, and then they do a blood panel. And when the blood panel comes back, this is where they shine. They explain everything to you, and the blood panel covers everything that you got going on. So from there, they put together a program for you. So if it's low in testosterone, you're going to get some testosterone. If it's other vitamins, they're going to add the vitamins in there, and it's a weekly program that is specifically designed for you, the individual, and it really makes a difference. It takes about 5 to 7 days, and you just start to feel better. And then after a week, a month, a year, I mean, I am thriving right now. I love what Mentality has been able to do for me and give me back as far as my life is concerned. So please visit one of the locations, South County or Chesterfield. Both locations are awesome. And guys, they deal with most insurance companies, too, so you don't have to worry about that either. And if you can't get there in person, please visit them online. It's Mentality at lowtusa.com.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals dropped the first game of this doubleheader today, a 6-2 final at Busch. Matthew Liberatore will make the start for the Cards against Bryce Elder, 6:15 first pitch. If you missed anything from today's show, including our interviews with Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic, and Brad Thompson, head to the podcast page. Find it on the 101 ESPN website or the free 101 mobile app. All of those interviews and full shows are all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have Beat the Streak and Biggest Question of the Day coming up next. And then after the show, we'll have the NBA Draft Round 1 coverage for you starting at 6 o'clock. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
I want to hit baseballs.
All of my successes depend on me.
You ready to hit?
The hits just keep on coming.
And his first big league hit is a bullet up the middle.
Fast lane here on 101 ESPN. It is time for Beat the Streak, and we have all taken a beat down except for our guy Brian, who's on the line with us. Brian, how you doing, bud? Oh, Marshy, there we go. Marshy didn't have you potted up there. Young man, he's mad at you because you're now in the lead.
He's not the only one.
What? I'm not mad. If anybody should be mad, it should be Carey. He had the damn record right in the palm of his hand.
Yeah, you had it right there in your hand.
Yeah. There's the morning
now it's
grip.
gone.
I lost it.
Yeah, you lost. That's right, Carey. That's right. You got to be careful of that. All right, Brian. The dance card is full, and it's yours. Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, real quick. People were calling in about no rain, the game starting late. I'm a truck driver, and I run every night Kansas City and back. And last night there was a wild lightning in the sky. So I think they called the game because of the lightning.
There you go.
There we go.
Look at that.
Makes sense.
In the safety for the people with the lightning.
Well, they should have sent them home, Brian, instead of keeping them at the stadium.
Hey, Carey, like you said, businessman.
Well, there we go. That's good information, Brian. We appreciate that. All right, we need your hitter now.
All right, go ahead and give me Olsen again.
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty good call. All right, so Olsen for Brian. Marshy, who's up next now?
Should be Anthony.
Or is it all of us?
It's actually Anthony. So Anthony did get a hit. Austin Riley was his pick for that first game. Anthony's going to go with Kelnick.
All right, Kelnick.
Who's up next?
That would be you, Carey.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Give me Alec Burleson.
Oh, you dirty dog. Now you've got me cheering for Alec Burleson. Not really, though. I want him for a home run.
Ah, okay.
All right, Marshy, who's next?
You're up.
All right, Marcell Ozuna, please. Matthew Liberatore on the bump. That lefty, not great. Marshy, you got it.
Give me Mason Wynn. I think it'd be funny if he got a hit this time around.
Wow.
Sorry.
All right, there you have it. Brian, we'll see what happens here tonight, buddy. Hopefully we got you back tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. You guys have a good night.
All right, you too. Stay safe on the roads, brother.
All right, thank you.
All right, you got it. All right, that's Beat the Streak. Now it's time for our biggest question of the day.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
All right, we had a texter text in a question for the Sports Six-Pack, and then we did not read that question. Obviously, we have a lot of questions coming in to the Air Comfort Service text line, but with the NBA Draft coming up, round 1, right here on 101 ESPN, starting at 6, this specific listener wanted to know if Bronny James will be drafted into the NBA. And if he is, do you think that is a sham?
What? I thought he was a good player.
Oh.
Is he not?
Here's he will more than likely be drafted. They're having a 2-day event now, so they got first and second round. I don't think he'll be drafted tonight. But I do think he'll be drafted. And I've been kind of torn with this, right? Because, nepotism is a real thing in a lot of businesses, sports, but generally it's on the other side, ownership, and so to have Bronny James, who some may not feel he is suited to be in the NBA at this moment in his career, him getting an opportunity, can you be mad? Like, if my dad was LeBron James and one of the greatest top 3 players of all time, would I be mad if that got me a job? No. And so there are people that own businesses that pass it down to their children. Children may not have earned it, but they are business owners and making millions and hundreds of thousands of dollars because of what their family legacy, grandfather, great-grandfather passed down through their family lineage. I can't be mad at Bronny for being successul based on his father's success, because then I would be mad at everybody for and I think that's the way you have to look at it. There are a lot of people in business that pass their business down to their family members.
Let me ask you this, because I don't know enough about Bronny. If Bronny gets drafted to the NBA, is he going to embarrass himself?
I don't think he'll embarrass himself.
Is he a legit player? Like, I'm not talking a star. Is he a player?
With all due respect to Giannis Antetokounmpo, his brother Thanasis probably shouldn't be in the NBA.
He's not good. I think there are more highlights of him being terrible than there are of him being good.
Which is unfair.
This is
because, I don't know.
But that's where I'm headed with it,
The
Carey.
last man on the roster doesn't play much. And so I don't know what
would Bronny James be happy? Would LeBron be happy with, my kid's not playing?
I don't know that he has any.
Well, when the Lakers draft him, he'll have quite a bit of say on that.
Well, if you're going to sacrifice, your team's games to allow your son, if that's the role, then there'll be more problems than there should be. But
so I
don't think he'll embarrass himself.
Okay, because that's my thought, is if the kid can just play in the league, if he can be a serviceable player and he's willing to just be that, not trying to be more than what he is, or not think that he's better than what he actually is, then let him be in the league. But if it's being force-fed to me and the kid, doesn't matter who it is, and the kid is not good enough to be there or not smart enough to run the company. Because if the kid
then
goes
the company fails.
That's right. Yeah. And then all those employees get ticked off, right?
Yeah.
So if I was LeBron and my son, if I knew he's a fourth liner, I wouldn't say, hey, let's treat him like a first liner. Let's treat him like an all-star. I'd say my kid's a fourth liner and he better find a way to stay on the fourth line and not get cut.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
But if you were able to allow him to be on the team and guarantee that he could not get cut, he's an NBA player. He's an NHL player.
Yeah, but the difference is, can you be on the team and just be a part of it, or do you want to be more?
But I think that's a difference.
You want to be,
I think
you expect to be more.
I think with hockey it's different, though, because the fourth liner is going to play, 10, 12 minutes?
Yeah, 8 to 11, somewhere in there.
Okay. The last man on an NBA roster doesn't play any minutes.
Doesn't have to play. Yeah.
He does not have to play. You might go 8, maybe 10 deep.
Yeah.
And so, that last man, does he need to get on the court?
But so that's where I go with it then. Bronny James is sat for 30 games in a row. How do you think that's going to feel? How do you think that's going to go over?
If you don't like it, play better. And I think that.
But then, then you got LeBron on the Twitter machine being like, can't believe this guy's playing ahead of my boy. Like, how that's going to work.
Hey, man, I got you here. Now you get to stay here. You figure it out.
Yeah.
Now, and again, I have been racking my brain trying to figure it out. Like, is it fair? And then we get a text here that says, sports is supposed to be a place where everyone is competing on an equal plane. Agreed, but are we just going to talk about the athletes on the field? Because Kyle Shanahan, his father coached in the NFL. Like, you got coaches who have coached. Bickerstaff, JB Bickerstaff.
Yeah, but they start at the bottom.
Come on.
Belichick's kid.
He's a position coach. Ain't starting at the bottom.
No, but he didn't start there. He started as like nothing, and he's worked his way up.
With the expectation that he would be a position coach.
But he started at the bottom.
And learn.
Start at the bottom, Carey.
Hey, what do you want to do? Bernie James going to start at the bottom, too. He's going to be on the end of the bench.
He's got to work himself up to be an all-star. There's going to be so much noise surrounding whatever team drafts him.
I hope it's the Lakers. I want to see J.J. Redick, LeBron, and Bronny all.
By the way, real quick before we have to go, my biggest question to you today and to Marshy's, what did you guys think about J.J. Redick dropping the F-bomb twice?
I wish we should have had a segment about that.
What are you doing, buddy?
Don't know.
You're a coach in the NBA. First of all, you've never coached anywhere.
Los Angeles Lakers.
You've never coached anywhere, like at all. You've been a media guy.
Yeah.
So being a media guy, he knew what he was doing there.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you this, whenever I do TV, I know what words I shouldn't say.
Same thing with radio.
Well, I get
you
closer.
got caught up earlier.
I get closer to the danger zone on radio, let me tell you. Because when you got that camera in your face, it reminds you quickly. J.J. Redick drops the F-bomb twice. Right beside, the general manager. What are you doing?
And I
was
wonder
it shock value?
I wonder if they clutched
what are you doing?
I'm going to be different. Yeah, be different by in a different way.
People already think he's not competent for the job. Him starting his tenure with F-bombs in his press conference, people are like, look at this guy. I knew he was a joke.
I didn't think that was the way to go. But I think, like you said, it was done intentionally to say, I'm not a coach. I am, I've never... I'm built for this in a different way.
I'm a real badass.
Yeah, I don't know.
It came across as so cringy to me. I didn't like it. From this point on, I want him to fail. Is that terrible? Am I that
harsh.
guy?
That's a little harsh.
But it's just I'm like, dude, no.
That's
I want him to be the last place.
I mean, depending on what they do with the roster, and if they draft Bronny James instead of going to getting some help.
Yeah, he'll be dropping more F-bombs than that. That's for sure.
Let's see.
All right, those are your biggest questions of the day. Beat the streak. When we come back, we've got Bet the Board, criticisms, compliments, and all sorts of other fun stuff here on 101 ESPN. All right, it's that crazy time of the year where a lot of houses are being put on the market. Some houses are going quickly, some aren't. If you are thinking about listing your home, please call my friend Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria knows the market. She knows what the price is for your home, and she knows how to sell your house to get you to the closing table. And the reason she does that, or the reason she knows, is because she's been doing it for years and years and years, and especially here in this St. Louis market. And Gloria also knows exactly what to ask for your home. She will sit down with you, and you guys will agree upon a sales price, a listing price, and she will get that price for you, or she'll buy that home for you. She'll buy that home herself, and she guarantees that in handwriting, and she also has thousands of buyers that'll help her get your home sold. Lots of traffic to your listing, hopefully multiple offers. Then you can sit down with Gloria Liu, pick the best offer, sell your home, and everybody's happy. And that's because you trusted Gloria Liu. So please pick up the phone, call Gloria at 314-325-6888. Again, that's 314-325-6888. Or you can always visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Remember that conditions do apply. Gloria and the seller must agree upon the sales price and possession date. It's a fast lane here on 101 ESPN. Let's not forget that this Thursday with Stella Artois, you guys can hang out with me over at Cyberg's here on Dorset Road. Stella Artois is partnering with Hot Ones to bring hot wings and hot trivia questions to St. Louis. You want to compete in the trivia? Visit Cyberg's now to find out how to sign up and to participate in the competition, or just come hang out, watch the festivities this Thursday, and enjoy some free Stella samplings and your chance at attendance prizes. Again, that's this Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. with me over at Cyberg's here on Dorset Road. Get more information if you need it at 101ESPN.com. All right. We covered a lot of stuff today. We talked about the Tommy Edman injury, and do you really need Tommy Edman? We talked about Brendan Donovan, if he might be the most important piece to the offense for the Cardinals. We had Jeremy Rutherford on to talk a little Blues hockey, the upcoming draft, and maybe some trade scenarios. We also had Blues Q's where we covered a lot more hockey stuff. And we had a couple other great conversations as well. And you can get all of that, again, by downloading the podcast. Visit the 101 ESPN mobile app or 101ESPN.com. All of that brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto. All right. Time for Bet the Board. Let's do this quickly. Who's up, Marshy?
All right, let's go through these standings real quick. Jamie, you're still in first place, 10-7. Anthony is right behind you, 9-8. I am 8-9, and Carey is 7-8-1.
It's tight. All right, I'll start off here. This guy has failed me a couple of times. I'm giving him one more chance. Nolan Gorman. 0.5 total bases.
You're as bad as him with Bob.
I just need... No, but at least this guy cashed for me for like 5 games in a row.
Did. Bob didn't do him
Bob
good.
didn't do anything. So he's at minus 150. He's right at the threshold. I'm going with the over. Nolan Gorman to get on base once.
So it looks like Anthony is going back to the Blue Jays Red Sox over.
Would.
That hit yesterday. A lot of runs scored in that one, so he's going with the same pick.
Play some defense.
We hope so. It's a tight race. This is the final week. I am going to go with Matthew Liberatore under 2.5 strikeouts.
All righty. I'm going to go back to the New York Yankees. They're minus 126 on the money line.
Oh, they got the Mets, huh? They stink against the Mets. Well, what a game yesterday. Garrett Cole pitching batting practice.
4 home runs, no strikeouts.
Not great.
Not great at all.
No WNBA tonight. That is why I'm not choosing a WNBA game. If there was a game on, I would choose WNBA. I think I found my niche. You know,
Lynx. Go Lynx.
Go Lynx. Go Minnesota Lynx. Correct.
All right. What do you got?
From the 314, Jamie, your podcast with Brett Hull. So many F-bombs, and it was a delight. So calm down, dude.
Yeah, no, one, that's a podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a podcast. It's not live TV. I'm not being introduced as the new head coach of the LA Lakers, having zero experience at all. Yeah. So the podcast, it had F-bombs. If you've listened to most podcasts, that's where people drop them these days.
You should.
Yeah. So I don't feel bad about that at all. It's not comparable. That's apples and orange. Actually, that's apples and watermelons, that comparison. I prefer watermelons.
Watermelon is good.
You too.
Have you ever had mustard on watermelon?
What?
Yeah.
No.
So many questions.
I saw it on a TikTok once. I tried it. May or may not have had a few drinks in me. And I did not mind it.
Never.
I'm not going to be trying that. I'm sorry.
Mustard?
Sorry.
Mustard. Like yellow mustard.
Threw up in my own mouth a little bit.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, don't knock it until you try it. It's not the worst
there's
thing.
certain things that I haven't tried that I won't be trying.
That's fair. That's fair. Guys, you were giving me compliments earlier today, and the water boy said Marsh has a great grip on how things work. I certainly do.
Except for in the morning.
It just, for some reason.
Just takes him a while to get warmed up.
Yeah,
overuse maybe.
Probably.
Ollie should have pulled him out of the game earlier.
Too many pitches.
Got a text from the 423. Mustard on watermelon for the cramps, right, Carey?
There you go, yeah. You try that mustard when you're cramping up. Let me know how it works out for you.
The 314 says GTFO with the WNBA marsh. You were cool before that. LOL.
No, come on.
Come on.
There's nothing wrong with the WNBA.
I'm undefeated with these WNBA picks.
Yeah, especially Marshy's on a hot streak. Too bad the league's finished for the year.
Oh, no.
It is.
Not done?
Wasn't the championship game last night? There's some cup that they won.
The WNBA?
Yeah.
That was
No,
they got plenty of
They're just off today.
They said something about a Champions Cup.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah, you
I
guys.
saw it.
You know what? Screw you guys. You guys think I'm lying? I was on the damn treadmill, angry as hell this morning because Marshy pulled off another WNBA victory.
Yeah.
I'm going to find out what the hell I was actually watching.
You were watching the game.
Could be wrong too.
No, you're right. I saw it. Maybe it was. I don't know what it was.
There we go. Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you.
The season just started.
Yeah.
Like a month or
They
two
took
ago.
the Lynx State Commissioner's Cup.
I don't know what that is.
I have no idea. I thought it was a championship.
Nah. Could be a in-season tournament type
maybe
thing.
it's that.
We'll have to brush up on our W.
Yeah.
Those are great.
We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Of course. All right, let's get to let's get to the 3 stars of the day. Our 3rd star of the day, he's a guy that some people only remember his first name. He's also a guy that some people only remember his last name. We like to call him Chris Davis.
Yeah.
He is our 3rd star of the day.
Big 6.
If you missed that, go back again, listen to the Gauntlet, and it'll all make sense to you.
Our 2nd star of the day goes to a very underrated punter. Some people don't even remember him being a punter, but he was an option in the Gauntlet today, and that is Randall Cunningham, the punter.
It was amazing.
When I saw that, I was, is it
How's he on
Bradford
here?
or Grant that does football?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it's Grant. I think Grant does hockey and football.
I was like,
Randall
Randall
might have
Cunningham?
punted a punt before.
He may have punted one time on a fake 4th down attempt where he grabs it and punts it.
But not a punter.
No, not a punter, no.
1st star of the day, Carey's beat the streak effort.
No.
You tied the record.
Did a great job, Carey.
Did a great job.
I don't want that.
Got right to the
golf
finish
clap.
line and refused to cross.
I'd rather tie, Jamie. The hell are you talking about?
Of course, you bet the board proves it. All right, that's it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow from 2 to 6 here on 101 ESPN. Hope everybody has a great night. Sunshine out there. Go for a walk. Enjoy it. And we will see you tomorrow.